the truth is that I want an answer just as bad as all of you.
I want to know what happened in that classroom. Why just her classroom? Why only her?
I don't think we have anything to say to each other.
Yeah, I think you have a lot to say.
You and every other person in this city. Believe me, the message is loud and clear. I'm the problem. Got it.
You heard it up top. We talking about swords? We talking about guns? Kinda. Because on this special episode, we're talking weapons here on Normies Like Us with your hosts. Boy, this is a hard one. Little kid running Naruto style Colin.
This is the whitest mic you know.
And this is your Aunt J. Gladys.
Gladys.
Your Aunt J. Gladys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Aunt Gladys.
And then you'll leave, Aunt J. Gladys?
Once this podcast is over, you'll leave? You'll go home?
Yeah. You'll go?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Right.
Now give me your hair.
No.
Weapons.
Yeah.
Spoilers for weapons, listeners. If you
Weapons.
haven't seen it, go see it. But we're talking,
Of course.
Weaparinos.
Yeah,
Talking
we're
the new
laughing up top.
Zach
It's
Kreger
Mhm.
film.
the new Zach Kreger horror movie, Barbarians, the previous one before this. Very scary movies, very interesting movies. I'm excited to talk about them and hear your guys' relationship to them. Very funny movies. I was surprised that this was a very funny movie. I'm excited to talk
Yes.
Yes, I was
Yeah,
surprised
they
by
say,
that.
is it a horror comedy? I think it's more I think it's a horror movie with some comedic elements, and there are definitely some
Yeah.
comedic elements. But of course, Zach Kreger, the director, coming from a comedic background, so it makes sense. Being a member of the sketch comedy troupe, The Whitest Kids You Know. And then, of course, moving to horror, following in the Jordan Peele path, if you will, going from sketch
Mhm.
comedy
Yeah.
to horror
Yeah.
with Barbarian, which I think we all saw Barbarian, right? And we all enjoyed that.
Well,
when it came out.
let's start with history with what you said first, though, The Whitest Kids You Know. Are you guys fans of that? Mike, did you watch that sketch show?
I only ever watched it one time at a friend of a friend's college dorm. We were like crashing there, and he had it on DVD,
Yeah.
and I only remember like 2 sketches. I didn't really watch it much, so fairly unfamiliar with the works of one Zach Kreger and friends.
To me, it was like I didn't watch the show on TV. I just watched clips on the internet. So to me, it was like, you would see videos on YouTube, like you'd see certain sketches from on YouTube, and I think that's how I mostly consumed it, because it was in that era when internet sketch comedy was kind of becoming popular. But I was aware of who they were, and I enjoyed some of their sketches.
And especially comedy teams, in the past you had like Kids in the Hall and
Right.
you've got the Birthday Boys eventually getting a TV show. Like, these people who they sort of like took
Right.
gambles on, these sketch comedy groups. The Whitest Kids may be the group I'm the least familiar with. So
Yeah.
I like them. I remember
Yeah.
watching the shows in college as well, but maybe just a couple sketches, maybe just a couple.
And was their
episodes.
show on IFC channel, or what channel was that?
I think it
even on?
was.
Comedy
I think
Central.
it was.
Yeah, IFC, like the independent film channel or whatever.
Yeah.
I think I never knew who Zach Kreger was within that group when I was watching it. The standout talent I think of that group was the only name I was familiar with, Trevor Moore, who sadly passed away a couple years ago. He was kind of the leader of that group and the most recognizable, I thought. And maybe his passing has some to do with the writing and the inspiration for this film. So we'll talk about all that, of course.
Yeah. So I wasn't really too familiar with their general comedy, but their YouTube right now, in the wake of, this movie's pretty successful, not to bury the lead, but like it's doing well. And like they're doing updates to the Whitest Kids You Know YouTube channel where they're like, Weapons is a sequel. And then they like put an old sketch up that's kind of tonally related.
Wow.
And so they're really banking off the success of the movie to kind of reinvigorate people watching those old 7 hot dogs, as it were. Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, how about the film? So obviously he goes on to make another film. Now, remind me, guys, did we all have Barbarian on our top 10 that year? I did.
I think so. Yeah. I think I did as well.
I pulled it up. It's my number 2 behind Nope.
Wow.
And ahead of The Batman. So it's my number 2 of the year was Barbarian. So I was really excited for Weapons,
Nope.
even though I didn't know a lot about it. Nope. Come on.
Jordan Peele.
Jordan
There's
Peele,
a lot of
baby.
connections with Jordan Peele. I
Yeah,
want to talk a
we'll
little
talk
bit about
about
the
that.
background and the making of this movie too. But
It's hard not to link their kind of careers together. Yeah.
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 Well, it's such a specific thing going from sketch comedy, and I think comedy and horror do have a lot of overlap. So it's interesting. And I think both Barbarian and this movie have those comedic elements. And Barbarian is a movie that kind of came out of nowhere. We all saw it and loved it, and it really kind of spread by word of mouth, which I guess Weapons is doing now. But Weapons also has the he's getting the name recognition from Barbarian, so it's even a bigger hit than Barbarian. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, and I've said on record multiple times, just as you kind of alluded to, comedy and horror are very closely related. It's a setup, anticipation, punchline, like timing for a
Exactly.
jump scare and a joke. They're very similar. So, and this movie does a good job balancing them
And
both.
sometimes,
Best.
yeah, like even in this movie, sometimes you don't know whether to laugh or to be scared. There's jump scares that sometimes you laugh from the relief of the jump scare or something. So there is just a lot of overlap there, and I think that's something also Jordan Peele has utilized within his movies as well, comedic elements. And
Even John
I was
Carpenter did
happy
comedy before
about
too.
yeah, but I'm happy about the horror genre renaissance that we're living through right now, where is horror the one genre where you have these original movies coming out being financial successes, critical successes. You had
Boy.
Sinners, you have Ari Aster, you have Robert Eggers, you have this whole crop of these younger this movement of horror directors putting out these movies, and I think it's like the best genre to be making original movies in right now.
Yeah, as you said, original being sort of the key word there. I've never put that together, Jacob, but you're absolutely right.
I've been
Yeah, I mean, you had
thinking of.
Sinners, huge hit this earlier this year. Yeah,
I was just thinking about how some of my favorite movies of the past 2 years, maybe not all original, they all been horror, with like Alien, Romulus, Nosferatu, Sinners, 28 years later, and now Weapons. Yeah, the horror genre is really healthy right now.
I think
And
the thing is,
superheroes
like,
are struggling.
it's the one genre that you can make original movies and have them make money, which is like the big thing. In Hollywood, no one wants to take risks ever, right? So they just try to repeat what's already been successful before. Horror is like the one genre you can really innovate in and still make money, with Sinners, with this movie, which has had a pretty good opening weekend for an original horror movie, especially. So even franchises, you have Final Destination Bloodlines, which just came out earlier this year, hit HBO Max recently. I watched it, was a huge fan. It's very clever and probably the best film in that franchise. So even with established franchises, you have these really good movies coming out. So
And all Warner Brother releases. There's been all these articles about what a
Yeah.
great gamble it was and how much it's paid off, how Superman even is added to them turning around. It's been such a good year.
Warner Brothers killing it this year, which I hate because I hate David Zaslav.
Love
He
you.
should
Your
go
favorite.
away.
No, you're always saying.
But yeah, Superman, big hit. Obviously, F1 was that them as well.
They did the
Um,
release. Yeah, Apple produced it, but they did the
Oh, okay.
distribution and made a
Gotcha.
killing off of it.
So they're making money from that. The Minecraft movie was them as well. Another one of the
wow.
biggest
Made-
hits of the year.
And we
So-
never talked about it grossed $956 million. It
So much
almost
money.
grossed $1 billion. Do you guys understand how
Yeah.
insane that is?
That'll buy you a lot of lava
And what they're
chicken.
saying now with post COVID and with the international markets now, they're saying 800 million is the new billion in today's Hollywood. So if your movie makes 800 million, it's like a billion from pre 2020.
Wow.
Think about it that way. So yeah, it made a lot of money. So Warner Brothers doing pretty well, and this movie made a lot of money for, again, an original horror movie, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Same. I'm excited to talk about it too. Yeah, should we just jump into it or run into it? I guess it's about that time. 2:17. Let's
About
head
the
into
Naruto run. Let's do it.
Run right into it. Weapons.
Like a guided missile.
the host walked out the podcast and disappeared.
We just end the episode. Yeah.
We're back here on Normies Like Us, where we are talking what Weapons, the 2025 newly released film, as we said, from Zach Kreger. We're going to not be sitting on a couch as if we're stroke victims, totally paralyzed, scars on our face.
Feed me
getting
some soup,
to
Colin.
us. Mike, if our
Feed me some chicken
viewers
noodle.
can tune in, you've got a little soup can there for us. in fact.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Um,
So,
Yeah, weapons. I wanted to talk a little bit about the making of this film, what led, the pre-production process, the writing of the script and everything up top. So obviously we mentioned the Whitest Kids You Know, Zach Kreger. A big inspiration for the writing of this script was the death of Trevor Moore, his close friend from that group, and just a really talented comedic actor in his own right. And again, I thought he was like really the standout of that group. He was kind of the face of that group. So yeah, this script came out of sort of the Zach Kreger processing his emotions and his grief from that.
Yeah, how do you respond to a weird freak accident you can't explain? Like, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
And
said
I
in
didn't know anything
interviews-
about the details of his death until recently. Yeah.
No, me neither. But yeah, like he said, like all the characters are kind of based off of like an aspect of his grief during that time. Like all the characters and weapons are kind of influenced by different emotions he was feeling during that time, processing all that.
Yeah. And so, after the success of Barbarian, it was a critical and commercial success. He wrote this script as a spec script, Weapons, and it was very anticipated. There was a bidding war for it, where Warner Brothers, New Line Cinema, which is Warner Brothers, Netflix, TriStar Pictures, which is Sony, and Universal were all bidding for it. And eventually, New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers won. And it was so hotly contested that Jordan Peele, who, his company Monkey Paw Productions, was bidding in conjunction with Universal for this movie. Jordan Peele was so upset that his company didn't land the script that he fired his managers, his longtime managers, after they didn't get the script. So
wow.
And they were $7 million short from what Warner Brothers was offering.
Wow. Okay, yeah, I have heard the connection to Jordan Peele is very real between these two directors. Could have been more collaborative.
Yeah, and there is a lot of parallels. Like, again, coming from a comedy background to making these sort of auteur horror movies, definitely a big connection there. And I wonder if Jordan Peele was bidding on it. Obviously, Zach Kreger wrote the script, probably with the intention to direct it as well. So I wonder if was Jordan Peele just bidding on it to be a producer, or did he want to direct it himself? I don't know.
Well, they produced Candyman, so maybe he was just gonna put up the money.
Yeah,
yeah. But
right, and Jordan Peele's in the place where he can. Yeah, he can. He's produced other movies as well. This movie, when it was originally cast back in 2023, had almost an entirely different cast, which I think is also interesting. I mentioned to you guys before that the Josh Brolin role was originally going to be Pedro Pascal. Yeah, which is interesting because, obviously he's been so busy the last couple of years, Pedro Pascal. And of course he had to drop out of this because because of, scheduling conflicts with the Fantastic Four.
Well, how did Julia Garner make it work? Yeah, no excuses.
Well,
Pedro.
that is weird. She's not in his.
She's not
the main character,
right?
Fantastic Four. So
she's on a green screen
probably,
for 3 days.
Yeah. But I want to tell you guys the original cast, because almost every part was recast for some reason, as pretty much as a result of the Hollywood labor disputes, the strikes, the writer's strike and actor's strike that happened in 2023. But the original cast was Pedro Pascal in the Josh Brolin role. Renat Rensev in the Julia Garner role, who, if you don't know who that is, she's a Norwegian actress. She was in a movie called The Worst Person in the World, kind of her breakout role. Yeah. She was also in a movie called A Different Man with Sebastian Stan, which is a movie that was on my top 10 list last year, if you remember. So we have that. So we have Brian Tyree Henry in the Benedict Wong role. Yes. And let's see what else. Tom Burke, Truckman Jack, in the Alden Ehrenreich role.
Wow.
So you go from.
I would like that better. Interesting.
That's a way different cast, because now we have
Han Solo, Truckman Jack.
Yeah, exactly. Tom Burke. So Alden Ehrenreich replacing Burke, Julia Garner, Josh Brolin, Benedict Wong, all replacing those original actors. So what do you think about that? I mean, can you imagine this movie with Pedro Pascal instead of Josh Brolin? Do you like that better? What do you think?
Well, we've joked off pod about how, all right, we got Thanos, Wong, and the Silver Surfer and Han Solo all in the same
Right.
movie. Doing kind of a one
Would
for
have
them
that
kind of thing, a smaller
fantastic.
film. I like Josh Brolin in it. I think I would have preferred not having Pedro Pascal, honestly, because he's already done the I'm a tortured dad thing. You know, it's not that I don't like him, but he's
Yeah,
done that a lot, and I like Josh Brolin for
sure.
this. But what do you guys
And
think?
he was just in Eddington as well. It's a whole thing where it's like, this big thing's been made of Pedro Pascal. Why is he in every movie now? And it's like, yeah, he was in Eddington recently. He was in The Materialists. He was in Fantastic Four. He was in a movie that I had not heard of until I turned on HBO Max the other day called Freaky Tales that came out in
What's that?
2024. I said, "What's Freaky Tales?"
What's Freaky
Starring Pedro
Tales?
Pascal.
No,
Oh,
I
you
don't know,
mean
but
the
it's
Freaky Four Tales? You're thinking of that new
yeah,
movie?
the Freaky Four. That's what they're called.
Freaky Femme Fortress.
So he is in a lot of movies, of course, and it would have been crazy if he was in Weapons too, because you would have had like 4 movies that you could see in theaters right now starring Pedro Pascal, which is
Well, here's the thing.
insane.
Here's my
Yeah.
take on it all, and I do want to plug this real quick. Shout out to the writers and what eventually became the actors' strike as well, SAG strike, which I'm glad happened. Obviously, there were a ton of unfair labor conditions. I am bitter about, as it did lead to me getting laid off my last Hollywood job and the loss of
Mm,
so many technical and labor jobs in California. What a fucking
Mhm.
bummer.
mm,
Yeah.
mhm.
I I don't care about Pedro Pascal losing this role. I love him. I've not fallen out of
Mhm.
love with him because of this weird, odd J.K. Rowling, manufactured hate campaign or
No,
whatever, or
no,
this
we don't respect
overexposure
those
stuff.
people.
Put him in
No.
anything.
Yeah.
I don't care. This is not the most interesting part. I'll be honest with you guys. We'll get into initial reactions here, but one of the weakest things I thought about this film was the Josh Brolin part in general. So I don't think Pedro
Mm.
could have boosted it up that much. So.
Yeah, I
Fair.
thought this was, this is I thought a role that worked for Josh Brolin, where it's like, yeah, this is the kind of role I can see him doing, where he's this overprotective dad or whatever. But Pedro
Gives you
Pascal,
his thing.
He
yeah,
feels like a construction
exactly.
guy.
And again,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal, yeah, this weird thing, this backlash against him now, where even if it's not the whole manufactured thing online, it's why is he in every movie? Again, it's like, oh, this handsome, talented guy is in every movie. That's such a big problem. I don't think so. But no, I agree that him over Josh Brolin wouldn't have affected the movie's quality in either positively or negatively. I think it would have just been about the same. Like
Mm.
it's not a super juicy part for Pedro. He's done that sort of thing with like The Last of Us and even The Mandalorian, where he's the
Reed
sort of the
Richards
dad
to a degree. He's
character
the
to
stressed out
Grogu.
dad. Yeah.
Yes. He's the dad.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's daddy. Like
yeah.
enough is enough is
And I would
enough.
much
Is
and
daddy.
I'm even glad that he's in Eddington over this, because even though I haven't seen Eddington yet, I know
Mhm.
that's kind of an interesting movie too that I want to check out when it hits streaming or something. Maybe a good double feature with this movie, where it's really about this current era that we're all living through and experiencing right now in the world. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, as far as the other roles, I think Julia Garner was the perfect choice for this role. I can't really envision another actress in this role, so I like her in this
No.
role.
Mhm.
I like Benedict Wong in this role. I don't know if Brian Tyree Henry would have improved it. You could have a member of the Eternals instead of Wong. So-
I couldn't. Again, both of them don't really stand out to me. To talk about Julia real quick, Mike, I want to get your
Yes.
opinion because you love that show, Marty Bird, whatever her silly
Yeah.
little character's
Ozark.
name.
Ozark.
We love
I
Ozark.
loved her.
Mike and I
I
do.
did not watch that.
I love it. The amount
Ozark's
of
a great show. I recommend it.
yeah,
Yeah,
and the
go
amount
ahead.
of sadness that I experienced when I found out that was not her real voice, I was like, no way. Like so, but
Yeah.
I think she's a great
She's acting.
actress. She unfortunately was in Wolfman, so I think she gets to bounce back with this film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was in that Anna Delvey TV show that was super popular on Netflix. If you guys know anything about that scammer, she's
No.
somebody. Just when I see her, I think of that performance, the Marty Bird, and to me, it
Yeah.
seems very caricaturish. And I'm like, oh, this girl's gonna be goofy. But in this, I was so stunned about what her character was that I was enthralled the entire way and thought she was brilliant.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you're
No,
on
yeah, I
board.
mean, Ozark was her breakout role, and I like Ozark too. I've seen it, and
Mhm.
it's a good show. I think I would recommend Ozark to anyone. If you like Breaking Bad, if you like a show like that, you're probably going to like Ozark because it's sort of like we have Breaking Bad at home, but in some ways different. Or
It's like not
you
Delivery
know,
DiGiorno though. Like it stands on its own 2 feet. Like it's still
yeah,
good. But
yeah.
it's
You call it Bateman
Jason
bad,
Bateman,
right?
Bateman
yeah,
You call
Bad,
it Bateman
Bateman
Breaking
bad.
bad.
Bateman.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like when they have a riverboat casino, and there's a lot of stuff
Like,
that happens in that show. But
yeah. That's great.
yeah. But she is really the standout. I mean, she was the breakout character in that show, and she went on to, obviously be in some movies and some shows. She was in that Apartment 9A, which is like a prequel to Rosemary's Baby, which I haven't seen. Very
Mm.
strange.
she goes on to be quite
Movie.
silver and quite the surfer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
And
hair of the beginning.
she's got her. Uh, Yeah, I liked her in this movie, and she has her signature hair, which is like curly blonde hair that she seems to have in a lot of roles. I don't know if that's her natural hair or just like that's
Did you
become
guys
her
know
signature look.
she
Mhm.
her Florence Pugh, another super prominent actress I can't remember, went to a Madonna boot camp hosted by Madonna because Madonna was auditioning people for a movie she was going to direct about herself, and Julia Garner was the one who won the role. I think
Whoa.
it was Shishori Ronan
Wow.
For what role?
Madonna.
for Madonna.
In a
Wow.
movie?
Yeah, directed
been
by
made already?
Madonna. No,
Oh.
no, it was she did this whole audition, gave her the part, and then Madonna decided, actually, I don't want to make that film and scrap the whole thing.
Wow.
Isn't that so
That's
crazy?
interesting.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Another
Yeah,
universe.
I'm looking at her filmography now. Yeah, Apartment 7A.
Hmm.
Have you seen that, Colin, at all? Prequel to Rosemary's Baby.
No, you blew my mind when you told me about that last Halloween.
Mm.
I also thought that was a series, and now I'm learning it's a movie. I thought it was like a Paramount Plus original series, but who knows? But yeah, I think she's a good actress. You know what? I was happy to find out. I knew, you're saying you're sad that she didn't actually have that accent from Ozark. I
Yeah.
kind of assumed that that wasn't her real accent, but I was happy to find out that she's American and not freaking British like every other actor that you think, oh, Spider-Man, what an all-American character, and then he turns out to be British. So I'm glad she doesn't have a British accent. She's actually
You know what's an
right here from the
all-American
good old
character?
USA.
Yeah.
You know what's an all-American character? A teacher that has to drink themselves to death.
That's one of the most American
right.
characters we've ever had. Yeah.
That's right.
Warner
And can we
Brothers is
talk
really-
about?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I just say
Well,
Warner
here's
Brothers
the
is
thing.
really.
Here's the-
Oh no.
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Okay, I'll finish it this time. They're championing bringing American actors back to American roles with Superman and now Julia Garner.
That's right.
You know?
That's
And I
right.
wanted to mention
This role,
another
this role.
American actor that I was happy to see in this movie. Our guy, or I don't know if he's our guy, but he's my guy, Alden Ehrenreich.
Not my guy.
Not my guy.
hey,
Okay,
buddy,
okay,
thanks
you
for
guys-
not co-signing me on that. Not my
Look,
guy.
Our guy, Alden Ehrenreich, he gets a bad rap. He's a good actor that was in the Han Solo prequel movie. He gets a bad rap ever since then because of how that movie did, which was not well, right? It was sort of a
Right.
box office failure, I believe,
Mhm.
critically failure. I kind of, had mixed feelings about it, but I thought, Alden Ehrenreich, he's still a good actor. Like he gets unfairly maligned because of that movie. And I'm glad
People
that he's
point
getting
to
his due.
that.
Yeah.
People point to that Coen Brothers movie. I love the
Hail
Coen
Caesar.
Brothers. I don't give a shit about that
Didn't
movie
see
or
it.
that performance.
No, Hail Caesar. He's great in Hail Caesar. He was
Couldn't
great
care less.
He was in Oppenheimer. Okay, he's
Sure.
in stuff. All right.
He was
in
in Ironheart,
Cocaine
but
Bear.
I didn't watch Ironheart, but I hear he was in it.
Did you
He's
see
in
Cocaine
Ironheart.
Bear, Mike?
No.
Yes, I have.
Oh, it's so good, Jacob. I really like it.
I will say though,
It's all right.
I like him in this. For all the
Yeah.
jokes.
Yes.
I like him in this.
I'm
yeah.
telling you, he's a good actor. He's a good actor.
I
He gets-
agree.
he doesn't have the career that he should have because of that Han Solo. It's like if you're in a big Star Wars movie like that, that's a failure, and you're the face of that movie, then you're going to get unfairly maligned. He should be a movie star. He should be in more things.
Like, where's Daisy Ridley?
I thought he was
right?
good in this.
Never do Star
Yeah.
Wars. It ruined Hayden Christensen
No.
for a while. Don't do Star Wars. That's the
Don't do Star Wars. I mean, just look
Yeah.
at Jake Lloyd, the original Anakin Skywalker.
Don't do
Then
Star
you're
Wars.
Oscar Isaac, and you're like, nothing can stop me. Or you're
That's
Adam
true.
Driver, and like none of
Yeah.
it matters.
Well, those guys, they had, and the thing is, they had careers before they did Star Wars. Like they
Yeah.
had sort of
Right.
already up and coming careers. If you're a
don't be
Daisy Ridley
new.
or you're
Right.
John
Alden Ehrenreich.
Boyega,
Or
Right.
John Boyega.
even
Yeah.
to stay
Not
away
a-
from
Here's
Star
the-
Wars.
It's
Here's what I
rad.
want to say, and I love that little Star Wars round. We're going to talk about this film called.
Alden Ehrenreich. Yeah.
I don't care. We're going to talk about this film today called Weapons.
Yes.
This is a mystery box movie. It's a
Mhm.
movie built around what is happening. The marketing is what is happening. What is this about? We're about to discuss it. Huge
Yeah.
spoiler alert. Putting that right up top.
Yes.
This whole thing, we're going to talk about this whole movie.
course.
We'll probably dig more towards the spoilery stuff at the end when a lot of that stuff occurs. But just to let you know,
It
in
was the
general, from now on,
weapons
talk
the
about
whole time. It was weapons.
was
Mhm.
all and my favorite part was when it was revealed that this was a Clue movie, and it was actually from the point of view of like the weapons that you use to kill people.
Oh,
in
the candlestick.
Clue.
Yes.
Ah, yes, the
Like-
candlestick
yeah,
in the
with
library.
wrench and
with
yeah, all those
Colonel
things. Like, I
Mustard.
couldn't believe that. It was so
Yeah.
great. What a twist!
No, but the way
Incredible.
I think this movie is interesting, the way it's structured, because
Yes.
you see these different points of view characters and it cuts between them. And each time it cuts to a new POV character, you learn more information about the whole thing, the story, the mystery, what's going on. You learn a little bit that you didn't know before. And Zach Krager also said when he was writing the script, he was inspired by Magnolia, Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia, which is an interesting choice. Not a horror movie, of course.
Mm.
But I understand that now because the way it's structured is very similar to Magnolia, where it cuts between all these POV characters and you kind of get bits and pieces of an overarching narrative that's connected in different ways. And that's kind of how this movie unravels, right?
Yeah, and I didn't expect that. I think we get like 6 point POVs throughout the film, but I didn't know this was how it was
Yeah.
structured.
I thought.
Maybe, but so I
No,
was surprised.
no, I didn't
but
either.
then I ended up being very pleased with it by the end of the film. Yeah,
Yeah, because the trailers really made it look more like
a linear.
Julia Garner was going to be
mystery.
sort of the protagonist or the audience POV character, where you're kind of learning things at the same time she does. And it starts with her, but then of course cuts around to Josh Brolin, Alden Ehrenreich,
James.
druggy
I need
kid.
to shout out because
Yeah.
this actor, who is this guy? Austin Abrams. Don't know
yeah.
much about him, but he's great in
Austin
this.
Abrams.
Yeah.
He's from
Well, Mike-
Euphoria.
Okay, cool.
He's from Euphoria. I haven't seen that, but I'm going to blow your mind, Mike, or maybe you know this already.
Hmm.
Zach Krager, his
Mhm.
next movie that he signed on to do. Do you know what it is?
I do know this.
Okay.
It's Resident
yes,
Evil.
I'll tell the audience. That's right. He's making a Resident Evil movie, a new, rebooted from whatever other previous movies, fresh take on Resident Evil, and it will be starring this kid, Austin Abrams.
Is that true?
Oh,
Yeah, he said he's the lead of this
that
Resident
blows my
Evil
mind.
movie.
That's
know what
awesome.
character
I
he's
really
playing
like
yet.
this kid.
Yeah.
I call this kid
Mhm.
Greg Malios, Jacob, and I've done that for a while. I love this
Whoa.
kid.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a guy that Colin and I knew or know.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't get the reference. But yeah, he has a kind of plays a druggy character in this. That's very good. We got a POV from the school counselor. We get a POV of like the one student who doesn't disappear, and you're learning just more about the situation as a whole. What I like about the structure is by the end of the movie, we know more about how things unfolded than any individual character because we're getting
Yes.
all of the information and they are siloed off.
The actual interpretations of this film, we'll talk about it. We'll kind of go through, I guess, what are our personal interpretations. Again, I'm excited to hear you guys' thoughts and initial reactions, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot has been said about how there's also kind of Lynchian qualities to this, and how Zach Krager's kind of gone out of his way to not necessarily confirm what things mean or represent. He said he intentionally put a lot of he sort of himself doesn't understand. And one of the things that I think has been diagnosed the most out of this film is our relation as a society now to true crimes. And what you just said, Mike, about how like the people involved in the story don't really have all of the answers by the end of the film, but we as viewers do,
Mhm.
is very interesting in a society that is so built around our entertainment being what is a timeline of a gruesome event stitched together that these horrible, events happen to these people that lived through or didn't, that we as observers get to sort of like feast upon. And it's weird how this film sort of can comment on that.
They set up with, this is a true story. It happened in Mindtown. Like they frame it as if like, yeah, this is explaining of a true crime situation. That's very true, Colin.
Ring camera footage, these very tangible, real neighborhood things and elements that people stitch together now. Ugh.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. I think I think the most obvious sort of interpretation, which Zach Craig
what's
could
the
say,
premise
didn't
broadly,
necessarily mean
right?
this.
Yeah.
Right.
Should we hit that first?
I guess so, yeah. Well, just you mean the basic premise of like, the whole class of kids goes missing in the middle of the night. They all run out of their house at 2:17 a.m.
17
Naruto
kids from
style,
one
as you
classroom.
say.
They run Naruto
Yeah.
style. One kid in the classroom does not disappear.
Right. And Julia Garner is the teacher of this class. And so we start the movie in her perspective as this teacher. Obviously, the parents of these kids are, trying to figure out what's going on. And she's sort of the one link of it's one specific class at this elementary school that all these kids ran out of their houses at the same time in the middle of the night, except for one kid named Alex, who's still there.
Right.
Now, obviously, I think the most obvious interpretation you could take away from this, of course, is school shootings, right? It's a reference to school shootings. You have an entire class of children that go missing. I wonder what it could be.
Out.
Yeah. I mean, the movie's called Weapons. There's a point where a character looks up in the sky and sees a giant AR-15 in the sky. I don't know what that could mean, but so I think that's, I'm not saying it's only about that, but I think that's an obvious reference point within
There's characters, the only people who like respond to the tragedy are the people who have to live with it, the parents. When Josh Brolin meets with one of those parents, they say, "How you doing?" "Oh, I'm just trying to get by after this whole thing." And he goes, yeah, that's all we can do. Like he says this very repeated, this thing you hear on Fox News, the whole thoughts and prayers line, essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that is the most obvious kind of commentary. I think there's other stuff happening with this movie too, and I like that it's broader and he's not saying it's about one thing. I think it's about a lot of things, but primarily, that seems to be a prevailing theme. A group of children gets ripped away suddenly, and the grief that the community is dealing with that reality, right? Like it's very much, part and parcel to that.
Yeah.
Well, on the topic of themes, just real quick, I want to ask you guys a question because I read another article that said this film proves the death of elevated horror. Because maybe this film does have themes and you could attach one of these grander ideas, aka the Babadook equals grief, this thing that sort of kicked off this whole trend. But really, this film is plot forward over that emotional distress. What do you guys think about that?
Yes. I like that because, of course, the cliche thing now is, the real monster is trauma, right? There's been so many, even movies that I like Talk to Me. Or something like that.
Right. Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
And liked.
I think a lot has been made about Zach Cregger in interviews and stuff, not explaining every single thing in the movie, what it means, what it symbolizes. I like that better because you have people, like you said, the Coen brothers famously don't explain every, symbolism in their movie. Oh, what does this mean? I don't know. I mean, we just thought it was a good idea. You tell me what it means. David Lynch, he doesn't explain everything in anything in his movies, right? It's up for you to decide as the audience what you take away from the movie. And I like movies that are sort of more open-ended like that. Now, I think this movie is actually very literal in that it explains literally what's happening by the end of the movie. You understand 100% of why what happened, and it explains it in a very literal way, which we can talk about the third act too. I feel like I'll say, I did like this movie. I think it's similar to Barbarian for me, and that it's a really good movie that I think doesn't quite stick the landing for me, similar to how Barbarian's third act didn't quite stick the landing, but I still liked it. Yeah.
Real quick, have you rewatched Barbarian, Jacob? I've only seen it the one time.
No,
I've not
only the
rewatched
one
it
time.
either.
Yeah. But Barbarian's
But-
very similar in that it throws all this stuff at you, and then by the third act, it explains why everything happened in a very literal way too, where you get explanations for everything.
Mike, rebuttal to that, as it's your second favorite movie of last year, and also
Yeah.
what are your reactions to this film?
My reactions to this are, I think it's Barbarian walked so these kids could Naruto run. Like, I like this more than Barbarian,
Yeah.
and I love the ending. Honestly, by the time credits hit, I was like, it's not a perfect movie, but like, man, this thing fucking rocks. Like, I loved it. So, it goes
Yeah.
crazy in the third act, but I appreciate it for that. But what do you think, Colin? Generally,
I'm with you guys in that it's not a perfect movie. As I sort of hinted at my one complaint, and Jacob, I kind of want to hear you talk about Magnolia too. There's a lot. This is going to be a very interesting episode from a lot of different angles. But the thing about Magnolia that makes it maybe a masterpiece and maybe your favorite director's masterpiece is that it's a film that's about the most interesting people on the planet, and that's why the narrative has to be chopped to hell the way it is, almost like an Altman movie, like a Nashville thing, right? Where every one of those characters could hold its own movie, and Jesus Christ, I want to stay with these people. And you feel the jumps, in a very connect way of like, no, go back to William H. Macy, the child actor, gay guy in a bar with braces. Like again, Magnolia is so crazy. This film, the Julia Garner is a nonstop leaving Las Vegas style alcoholic teacher. The whole time I'm like, this is insanely interesting. I love it so much. And then I feel like the other characters don't have the same magnetism, but I am stuck to the story in a really interesting way. It's just, I don't really like the characters.
No,
but I really liked this movie.
Me too. Yeah, I don't want to give the impression I didn't like it. I just think some things in the third act, like the way the third act unravels, I think I don't know if it stuck the landing.
Do you not like the answer of the film about like the plot of like what it is? Like, do you not?
I thought the answer was fine, but again, it's all so literal where it's like, okay, now I understand everything, and it's. I guess I like. David Lynch's movies are so dreamlike, and they have sort of a dream logic, right? It's like not everything is explained.
No,
this is the most literal movie about, and spoiler about what I'm about to say, a witch that I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And it sets up this really interesting mystery, and then by the end of it, you're like, okay, well, I understand the mystery now. I guess it's not a bad thing. I don't know if it's okay to compare to another filmmaker who I've had problems with. Osgood Perkins, a movie that a filmmaker I have a very contentious relationship because I just haven't liked any of his movies as much as I think I should. Like Longlegs, where like I want to like this movie more than I actually do. Yeah.
Did you see The Monkey, and do you like this movie more than Longlegs?
I do like this movie more than Longlegs. Actually, my letterbox style quip is this is like if Longlegs was a good movie.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, Osgood Perkins, complicated relationship with this because I've seen several of his movies. I haven't seen The Monkey, and I've sort of been avoiding it because I don't like his movies. And it sounds like I don't like, anything, because the problem I have with Osgood Perkins is sometimes he's too opaque.
Why don't you like
his movies are almost too opaque where it doesn't explain enough for me. And then I'm just like, wait, what did any of that mean? This movie is like the other way where it's like too literal, and I want something in the middle, I guess, or maybe I'm just too picky. I don't know.
All right.
But Longlegs, I don't know. You guys saw Longlegs?
Yeah, Mike, did you like Longlegs?
I thought it was all right. I didn't love it. The marketing overhyped it, I think.
Yeah. We've all seen Silence of the Lambs. We like that film. I guess I like seeing it again.
I have
and
heard,
this movie is like if Longlegs lived up to its marketing campaign, I guess.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying the couple's costume of the Halloween season is going to be Longlegs and Gladys.
Gladys.
Oh.
Yeah.
Again, there's a lot of similarities even in plot and theme of those two movies, I think, because it's the Longlegs character controlling people just like Gladys can control people, and yeah.
Can I throw out somebody else for us here real quick? Because I have seen The Monkey. I don't love that film for its callousness. It
Hmm.
truly and kind of Longlegs the same way. It just seems grotesque for the sake of it. Like Osgood Perkins is trying to heebie-jeebie me. Guys, someone we love, a Mike Flanagan, who seems so considerate about death. But more, I don't know how to say this. Not more cinematic than Jordan Peele. Obviously, again, it is these weird backgrounds, but he's somebody I would say that I connect so strongly with now, and just in the world of current horror. And I hope Zach Kreger, can find his place and fit in there as well. I feel like he is. Again, I was so impressed by the screenplay of this film.
Well, what I liked about this movie, it's the characters feel more human than like the characters in Longlegs, where it's like these are like real, believable human beings instead of Longlegs, where it's like I don't understand what these characters' motivations are. Even the main character,
They're
I'm
like the
what's
ghoulies.
her issue deal?
They're like the monsters. Yeah, you're like, well, like what? Like are the Adams even exist? Like it's so crazy.
Yeah. And by the way, I saw there's a trailer for a new Osgood Perkins movie before this movie, and that guy's making too many movies.
A
man.
third? What is it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I didn't get that one. For
Keeper.
The Pedro
Keeper,
Pascal of directors.
You didn't get that? Yeah, Pedro Pascal's in it. No, but it's a movie. It's set in this like cabin in the woods, and you see it from this. Like the trailer is very strange, where you see a perspective of the lady and then the man, and there's a lot of like weird, unsettling imagery and stuff. I have no idea what it's about, except it's this couple in the middle in this cabin in the woods. Yeah, Keeper.
No,
it played before this movie.
Dude.
Yeah,
it is.
But I'll tell you what else I got before this movie. Speaking of Paul Thomas Anderson, Magnolia, one battle after another. I saw that trailer. Yeah. Leo, I was like, shoot that into my veins. I'm ready to see that.
In that article that I shared with you guys about WB's successful year, everyone is predicting that will be the one that breaks their streak.
Oh, yeah. Well, like I said, they're trying to market that to get as many people to come see it. They're like, you got to see this movie. It's got Leonardo DiCaprio in it. We got a Beyonce song in the trailer. Like, come on, people. This is going to be a big event movie. And they're probably going to be let down because Paul Thomas Anderson movies are never commercial hits, I don't think.
Yeah.
But no, this movie, Weapons, I like the humanness of the character and how each character is sort of flawed in their own way, where you have this teacher where you think, oh, she's just a normal teacher at first, and you're like, man, she's going to the liquor store a lot, isn't she?
Right.
And then you're like, oh, she's an alcoholic. She is day drinking in her car. Yeah.
When you start to put together like the scene in the bar, you're thinking in your mind like, oh, okay, she's having a drink. Then you later in your mind, you're like, no, she was drunk in that scene. That's probably her like sixth drink at the bar, like her second liter of vodka that day. Like, like fall down drunk already. And it explains so many of her actions more and more.
Oh man.
Drunk and pressuring her friend who's sober into drinking, Alden Ehrenreich, who is the worst cop in the world in this movie. I think
easily,
like the most incompetent cop.
As he'll point out, not a detective.
Right. And
yeah.
No, I love these characters too, but one of the quote themes, air quote, I want to highlight is like weapons, it's generally not about a gun or a knife. Like it's broadly about how people are weapons to each other, even in like subtle ways. Like by her asking him to drink when he shouldn't, that's her being weaponized against him. When he's being a bad cop and punching the guy, he's being a weapon towards the junkie. So there's a lot of that stuff happening. Josh Brolin is weaponized against her. Yeah.
And truly her sort of coming into conflict in his life when he's trying to, he's married, he's a cop, he seems like a former alcoholic who's sober now, and then one meeting with his ex or whatever they are, and all of a sudden he's back on the wagon, he's hooking up with her, and his life is like falling apart now because he's coming into work the next day hungover and like, like
his wife wants to have a baby actively, and he's just like holding it together. Like again, that's a character that I'm like, that is so wild.
His boss is his soon to be
his
father-in-law.
Father-in-law.
Toby
June Diane Raphael,
one of my absolute favorite character actors. June Diane Raphael, one of our favorite comedians, earliest podcasters. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, as the wife character, and and you start to see the flaws of obviously the Josh Brolin character, his sort of overzealousness of going after the teacher and being like, what's going on here? And, you know, painting witch on her car and like stalking her and like spying on her and stuff. Obviously, you shouldn't be doing that.
Nope, he's fucking up at his work. You know, his wife's like, "I'm going to work," and he's like ordering the wrong materials. So he's kind of falling apart too. Like
It's
everybody's
sort of
flawed.
implied he's just like sleeping in his son's bed every night and like
A
can't let
DC
go of.
bed.
Not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
And his wife is obviously managing the grief better, or managing at least to live day to day, and he's sort of
Moving on.
still, yeah.
Because it's
And,
been a
you know,
month.
it's been 30
since they
days.
disappeared,
Yes, since the event
We're all,
happened.
and you know, we're just asking everybody to move on, and you got to forget about this, and you know, thoughts and prayers.
Yeah. But I love that all these characters are not perfect, and they sometimes negatively affect other characters. Even Benedict Wong, the counselor,
Well,
Marcus.
he becomes a literal weapon.
Right, but even before that, when she's like, I just need to teach, like, I need structure, I need to be at work, and he's like, no, go home. Like, he doesn't mean to fuck her shit up, but he unintentionally does, and the movie's about a lot of
He's
that.
setting her up in a dangerous path, Mike. Yes,
He's
that you can
well-meaning.
drink all the time.
Yeah.
But then the more you learn about the Julia Garner character, or what's implied, where it's like she's had past inappropriate actions with students, where she's like, well, I gave a kid a hug one time when he cried, or like I took a kid home from school. And it's like, you can see that she's well-meaning in these two, but then you can also see how to a parent or, you know, someone else, that would be an inappropriate teacher-student crossing a line sort of action.
What was your guys' relationships to crazy teachers? Did you have any? I definitely had one that, looking back, that teacher was getting high all the time.
Really?
He was an English teacher, and it just seems like he was stoned every minute of the day, and all chap.
Yeah, I think I didn't get any of those kind of teachers until like college film school, especially. Some film school professors were relaxed.
Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had a band. Our band director was busted for being part of like a CP trafficking ring when I was in high school. So that was a big thing.
Yikes.
Not dating somebody at the school, like legit had child.
Like, yeah, was busted as part of a larger ring. And went to jail. And it was a big thing that happened when I was like a sophomore, and all of a sudden the assistant band director became the band director, and he was like, look, you know, announced it to the whole band and everything. It was crazy.
God, I would love to get promoted because the guy got busted for the biggest scandal of all time, and everybody had to pay me more all of a sudden. That would be so great.
Right. But I hate it. The thing is, I didn't like the assistant band director. He was kind of an asshole to me. He was, and
you like
previous
the
band
pedophile?
No. I'm not saying I liked him, but he was cool to me. Like, he wasn't a jerk like the assistant band director.
He was always having you over, right, man?
Yeah. He was really interested in me for some reason. But he was, I guess, a weirdo. And to make it even worse, he had like a newborn kid when this all happened.
Boy.
It was fucked
Crazy
up.
shit.
But anyway, that's a whole other story.
There's, I guess to bring that around to this, not that theme is present in this movie, but there's a theme of adults letting down children as they do in real life. Like, even his new teacher, when Alex, the student, who's the only student who's left, transfers to a new classroom, his new teacher seems uninterested in him being not engaged with class. Like, he's clearly struggling, but like, there's no adults, even the counselor, like, they aren't stepping in to really help him the way he needs it.
What I think is interesting with the Julia Garner character, we have these, you know, is it inappropriate? You know, she obviously cares a lot about her kids. And it used to be like, you know, in a small town school like that, of course, you know, your teacher would have a special relationship with each kid in class. They would know their name. They would know their family, like in a small town like that.
Mm-hmm.
What I was thinking about is like in recent times, how parents have sort of turned against teachers on a large scale, where it's a really this conservative movement of, oh, the teachers are wokeifying our kids. They're giving them pronouns, you know, they're transing them, whatever. It's this thing now where it's like all these liberal teachers are trying to wokeify our kids.
Here's the thing. My aunt is an Ohio grade school teacher, retired now, 40 years. She had grandchildren. She had kids, their kids, then grandchildren come through her ways. She had special relationships with her kids. She wasn't from a small town necessarily, but knew everybody's story. Everybody has that. So this idea that these fucking right-wing, alt-right motherfuckers can
Yeah.
turn this blind eye. Even I know these people had it too. They had it with their coaches. They had it with actual teachers.
Mhm.
How you could mistrust teachers, the people who, and it's why this film is interesting, are in the most important position of a young person's life. They have a pulse on you, access to you, shape your identity
Formative time in your life. Yeah.
in
And
ways
you're an
that
authority
only
figure.
your parents do. And you
Mhm.
make
Yeah.
this unspoken bond to sort of like, okay, do good and like don't fuck my kid up. Like that is like the
Right.
only thing you can basically like hope for. It is scary. Like I understand it. And I understand how these people in this world that is so pushed towards everyone's a pedophile, everybody's out to get you, can target the people who are that other side of the coin. If it's not me harming the person who is with them all the other time. And it's just so fucking disingenuous.
We have.
And it's
I was just
yeah.
gonna
Well,
say,
I was gonna say like,
Hmm.
sorry. You know, parents being so possessive of their children, where it's like, no one's gonna raise my kids. I'm gonna raise my kids the way I want to. You know, you go into class. You're talking about an inclusive teacher that has a rainbow flag on the wall, and then you have teachers saying that's indoctrination. You're indoctrinating my children into the LGBT. That's not what I stand for. It's like, no, you know, it's called being inclusive of everyone in the
It's a
classroom.
safe space for the
Yes.
people who are vulnerable. It's
We're
not an
teaching
It's not like
attack on those
teachers
who are
are
the
out here
majority. Yeah.
making your kids gay. Okay, like that's not
Number
how
one,
it
that's
works.
not how it
exactly.
works.
Yeah,
But we literally get Josh Brolin has a line. What was going on in her classroom? Like it's directly
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Like what was she teaching my kids kind of energy? So this movie, while on its face is about school shootings and that kind of thing, it's also interrogating these ideas too of like the
yeah.
public's relationship to the educational system and teachers.
I definitely think, yeah, it's the parent-teacher relationship with it, which has seemed to have broken down in recent years. And I think it's a media fear-mongering thing as well, where you go
Yes.
turn on Fox News, and they're like, oh, the liberal teachers are indoctrinating your children and all this stuff. And I think the Julia Garner
But put
character
a cross in there.
is such a, sort of a stereotypical young woman character, liberal coded, wearing glasses, like it to me that just screams like she's sort of the representation of this archetype. And then you have the Josh Brolin, older man, conservative coded, works in construction, who's
Mhm.
like, their relationship, to me, that's what that was about,
Yeah, and like teachers, especially in the United States, teachers don't go into teaching for the money. They go in because they
No, it's
generally
such a
care about doing good work.
She has
yeah.
such a shitty apartment when you see it and she's watching
Yeah.
Deal or No Deal.
Right. It's
Yeah.
teaching is such an underappreciated job. And my mom was a teacher.
My mom's
So
a
I
teacher's
know,
assistant.
firsthand what it's like in the public school system. Like
In a small
you get
town.
no appreciation at all. Like you don't get well paid, you don't get good benefits. Like you're, the child, No Child Left Behind. It really started with George W. Bush, No Child Left Behind, standardized test scores. We can get into all that, but basically shoving a bunch of kids into a classroom and saying like all these kids have to operate at the same baseline, which basically is what standardized testing is all about. Where it's like, oh, if you have quick learners, they can't move too quick because then you're leaving other kids behind. So everyone has to get the same base treatment. So then you're sort of changing the quicker learners and the slower learners because everyone has to be like the
The
exact
curriculum's
average.
got to get
Well, we
watered
need-
down.
We
Yeah.
need a standard. So everybody needs to hit the average. And
Right.
if you don't hit that average, we cut your funding. So the bottom
Yes.
20% of these schools that are in the poorest neighborhoods, interesting how that correlates and affects
Right.
mostly minorities. Guess what? You're going to go to the worst schools from now. And it's like, why would that ever? That is the Reaganomics of educational stats.
Again,
Yeah.
systems and adults failing children. That's a big
Yes.
part of
Yes.
this.
And you can ask, you can ask my mom, you can ask any teacher in the 2000s, like No Child Left Behind was a huge mistake and a huge failure for the public education system. And now, of course, we have, Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, and all this
Mhm.
stuff.
Yes.
She's gonna come in the ring and do a
Now,
pile driver on the
Body
kids or
slam on
something.
public education.
Now I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep saying other side of the coin. Let's flip to this side now. Let's really face head on here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the gun crisis in America. Let's
Yeah.
talk about, no child left alive. The fact that
Jesus,
the
yeah,
majority
fuck.
of gun victims are children in classrooms.
Yeah. And it's something now where, kids are having to do like school shooter drills and stuff just to be prepared for this, which even when we were in school, of course, Columbine was, late 90s. There were some other big ones in the 2000s, but even today is so much worse than it was even 20 years ago, which is crazy to think about. But now it's like every other week there's a mass shooting, school shooting. What was it? Not Stonewall, but there's that Florida one. I don't remember.
Well, Uvalde, where of course the cops did nothing in Texas and just watched
Right.
a classroom of the smallest, most unprotected babies alive just get murdered and murdered and murdered.
Well, they have
Disappear.
Yeah.
Talk about
Yeah.
weapons.
I actually
Right, with the cops just standing outside.
not doing anything.
Yeah.
I literally pulled up the figures today out of morbid curiosity, but since 2018 to now, there's been over 100 school shootings minimum per year, and in 22, 23, and 24, there were 308, 350, and 337. We are at 135 this year in America.
So how many was in 2008? How many was there?
2008,
Oh.
37. So we've gone from 37
Yeah.
to 337 in 2024.
That's crazy. And like Columbine, when that happened, was such a big deal because it was like so
Yeah.
unheard of.
Oh my
And now it's
god,
like-
that's so
yeah.
scary.
Well, what's crazy about it too, again, it's a shameful thing that this country allows this to happen to our children. Once again, the institutions failing children. There was a school shooting at my high school in 2012. It was after I graduated, but like it's
Right.
close to fucking home for
Yeah,
a lot of
Chardon,
American
Ohio.
families. This issue,
Did I ever tell the story where I was working after school programs? I was in a bad neighborhood in California. Say which one exactly.
Mm.
I was on campus when we got the announcement of our PA, lockdown. Nobody knows what's going on. Everybody immediately assumes it's a shooter. You into our drills. It was a homeless guy on drugs with a samurai sword. Had tried to jump over the school's fence and was
was Austin
immediately
in this
basically
movie?
he was immediately blown away by the school law enforcement officer. So again, basically what happens in this movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Right.
But-
And then you have the incompetent cop character all
Yeah.
in there and right.
So horrifying. It was one of the scariest moments of my life. And then
Yeah.
a month later, I went home and having that same job, and South Park had that school shooter episode where the kid who gets killed in a school shooting is named Colin. And I told you guys, that's when I thought I had schizophrenia. I was like, doesn't it
Oh,
seem
right.
like the world is like being targeted towards me?
Right.
That's right. That's right.
Oh,
Colin
man.
Brooks.
Colin Brooks. It's my favorite
Um,
screenshot. I use it for all my profile pictures. Nobody
Nobody
gives a
cares
shit
about
about
Colin
Colin
Brooks.
Brooks.
Cartman.
Um,
No, that Florida shooting that I was trying to remember
Yeah.
the name of? Stoneman Douglas. Do you remember
Stoneman
Stoneman Douglas High
It
School
was also
shooting?
kids, right? Like little
Yeah.
kids, right?
I think that was a high school, but that was one where it's like, yeah, the school law officers were like out in the parking lot because they didn't want to go in to do anything. They were, too scared or too incompetent to like do anything. It's like, well,
Right.
then what do we have cops for in
Completely
general?
compressed. Julie Garner at one point says, "What is the morale of cops?" And on there, like,
Yeah, what is the
it's
morale?
like it's not good. And she's like, "Well, like I hope it would be. You guys got to like be in moods to find these kids or something." She says, and it's like, no, like it's like
Yeah.
so horrible.
Yeah, I like
Mhm.
when he's like, yeah, I'm not a detective, right? It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you're like a useless
A
small town cop. who,
cop.
like,
Kid,
his
do you
one
know what I-
job is to like detain this homeless guy. Yeah, go
Do
ahead.
you think he was the one who pulled her over and gave her a DUI? And
Say that again.
you think he pulled her over and gave her a DUI, and that's
That's how they met?
Yeah, it could
they're
be.
just
I mean,
having an affair. I mean, it's not that old of a
clearly they're
relationship.
both alcoholics because he's a former alcoholic because his wife even
yeah.
says like, did you go to a meeting after work today? He's like, no,
Yeah.
I didn't go to a meeting. Maybe I will or whatever.
Yeah.
So it seems like he's a recovering alcoholic. who's
Maybe
trying
they
to stay
met in a
on the wagon.
Yeah.
That makes
could be
sense.
too, yeah.
Mike Flanagan
Yeah.
style.
Yeah. Because when he shows up, he shows up at the bar. She's already been drinking. He's like, okay, I'll have a drink. He orders a Coke, right? But then later cuts to them, back, at her house, and obviously he wakes up the next morning. He's hungover and stuff. So obviously
Says I have
he
the
made
worst
some bad
hangover I've
decisions.
ever had in my life.
Yeah.
And
I see the Alden Ehrenreich character. I love him so much because he's so bad at his job. He's so like flawed, but yet I couldn't help but feel sorry for this guy who's just like trying to just get through his life, and just like everything's going wrong for this guy. His one job is to like detain this homeless guy who he gets stabbed with a needle, and then later gets stabbed with a bunch of needles in his face, and it's like,
oh yeah,
but he's also a bad cop because he like, he hits this guy after he gets pricked with the needle, realizes he did in front of his camera on his car,
right.
and then tries to, actively, stop it from getting noticed and stuff. So he's like trying to cover up for police abuse and stuff. So he's not good at his job. He's not a good cop, but
he also gets possessed by a witch. That's not a
that's true.
cop.
And then he gets killed. So
but that's true, because this is now we start to get the story weaving. So we see her talk to him at the bar. He has that Band-Aid. He's like, oh, what happened? Workplace accident. Then we go to the flashback where he does pat the kid down.
That's right.
Pricks his finger on the needle, knocks him out. And that just, again, commentary on sometimes cops are just like tired dudes who've had enough, that have a badge and are in a position.
They accidentally did fentanyl, then have to fuck their alcoholic girlfriend who's under a huge investigation. Like, oh no.
And then
and he's
like she drops him off at his car at the bar. She drives him back to the bar in the morning.
Right. And then he's got to go be a cop. And then he's got this whole thing where his wife's out of town, but then she's coming home early. That's like hanging over his head. His boss is his father-in-law again, or his future father-in-law. It's like, man, this guy's life kind of sucks.
Yeah, tell him we can do lunch. I'm going to come home early. He's like, oh, fuck. I don't want to come home early.
Not a jump scare I fell for, but just a moment that really made me terrified was when the wife covers Julia in the vodka and confronts her in the bar. I didn't think it was, going to be whatever was solving this mystery. I figured it was, something to do with this torrid relationship, but just getting doused, I was like, oh, that's so, I would hate that. Don't pour a bottle of vodka all over me.
No, that scene, that shot is great, because it's this tracking shot in front of Julia Garner, and you just see the wife pursuing in the background, like in and out of frame. It's really well done, but then again, it's just, she basically ruined that dude's life and his wife's life because she wanted to get drunk and fuck him. Like, there's consequence for your action.
Yeah, and I like what you said about how, like, these people are weapons against each other and stuff, because the cop coming into contact with this homeless guy kind of fucks up his life, and then they kind of fuck up each other's lives, and obviously Gladys coming in and just fucking up everything and causing all this mayhem within this town. But that the scene where June Diane Raphael comes in, that kind of mirrors later when a character is literally coming after her, Benedict Wong. So
yes.
The
only other title this film could have had is Dominoes.
Oh, you couldn't call it Sinners? We have gluttony with the alcohol. We have lust with the cheating on people. We got rage.
Right. But I like the dominoes because it's like,
dominoes.
Yeah, each perspective kind of adds something more to the story, and you get a different perspective on it.
And
and they kind of all fall down.
An old woman
gets like how these
I love
how
that.
these people's lives interact with each other and basically make each other's lives worse.
But it's to the weapons. It's how contact with these other people, when you intersect your lives, it only leads to disaster. It's so interesting,
especially in the framing of dealing with grief. Essentially, like, everybody in this town is a month into grieving, and it's like it just all bounces off each other in bad ways.
And then you have Benedict Wong, who's maybe the least flawed, most sort of like good at his job character, who's like not outwardly an alcoholic or like anything like that, and he kind of has one of the worst ends where he's turned into this literal weapon and eventually meets his own gruesome death. And this guy didn't do anything wrong. He just wanted to eat some hot dogs with his husband.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Literally make
and
the
he was-
nicest guy becomes the most violent kind of weapon.
yeah.
7 hot dogs is too much, though.
Yeah.
If you think about it, for 2 people, that's not that much. That's like 3.5 hot dogs.
But
each.
who's
That's
eating 3 and who's
too
eating
many.
4?
Yeah, dude.
They each
I
eat a
think
half of the last one.
Legally, the most amount of hot dogs. 2 hot dogs.
2.
Because that's a foot long.
That's
You're done.
crazy, Colin.
That's it.
I've
Joey
eaten
Chestnut
4 hot
said-
dogs.
3 is a
day.
yard. If you've eaten
No,
4, you've eaten so much
4 hot dogs
dog.
is a normal amount to eat
No,
in one
it's
sitting.
not.
I go, there's a Wiener Schnitzel by my house.
too
I go up
many.
to the Wiener Schnitzel. I get 2 chili dogs, 2 mustard dogs, and I eat them all in one sitting. And
Lay
I
them
get
out.
fries.
Lay them
Yeah.
out and then imagine them inside you.
I do
You ever
gotta
been to
say,
Wiener Schnitzel?
no, I've
Yeah,
never been to
never.
Wiener Schnitzel, but this top-down shot of this glazed charcuterie board, I was like, damn, I want a hot dog now. Like, it really
Yeah.
sold me on some.
I
some
love
dogs.
a good dog. I love a good mustard dog
I love a good dog.
but there's a
I'm very-
restaurant
my
called
type
Wiener
is very
Schnitzel.
dog food.
Near my house. I just go up the street. They got chili dogs there, and I get the freaking chili fries, and I eat it all.
Oh,
And yeah,
boy.
I feel really fat after it. But guess
Yeah,
what?
I
ate
have
4
diarrhea. Yeah, you're right. I'm at the hospital as we speak.
I put on.
But I would argue 4 hot dogs in one sitting, not that bad, really. I mean, if they're small hot dogs,
All right, listeners, let us know how many hot dogs
Well,
is the appropriate
they're
amount.
thin boys. Let us know. 2 is not a full
Right.
meal to me, really. If
I split the difference.
you
I
only
think
have
3.
2 hot dogs and nothing else, that's not really a full meal.
I could say 3.
Look, I need more. I'm a growing boy. I need more carbs than that. I need more energy.
Fair.
So, anyways, readers, tell us how many hot dogs you have in one sitting. But yeah, Benedict Wong, the most innocent, good character in this movie, and yeah, he gets turned into a violent weapon and basically run over by a car, and his head
Mhm.
gets destroyed into little pieces, which is really gruesome.
The heads get destroyed into little pieces frequently in this movie. Unfortunately, his husband gets attacked as
Yeah.
a result of being turned into a weapon. That's very gruesome.
That's right.
Headbutting. Because they let
Yeah,
Gladys
and well,
in.
let me tell you this.
Yeah.
Yes. If someone comes to your house and you offer them some water and they say, "Can I have a bowl of water?" You say, "Get the fuck out of my house right now."
Yo.
I would never give someone a bowl of water. Okay.
So Sinners
that
gave us,
game.
"You gonna invite me in?" No, and now we have from this, "Give me a bowl of water." Get the fuck out of here. Not happening.
Yeah. Already, I'm just like, my suspicions are aroused. Like, why do you want a bowl of water? That's a very weird thing to ask for.
I loved her line though. She's like, "Oh, it's just a peculiarity I have. I don't even try to explain it anymore." Like,
Who knows
who
exactly
knows?
why
I don't even
want that.
try. Yeah.
A great question.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
we
I
were
don't know.
asking, where does Zach Kreger find his place in the horror landscape? I think this is sort of where this balancing of humor and horror, because there's like, this is way funnier than I thought at parts, but it's also spooky. And like that, a line like that where it's like, I stopped even trying to explain why I need a bowl. Could I have one anyway? Like, that's great. And then it turns on a
Yeah.
dime and it's horrific.
And it's the
Oh.
juxtaposition, because you don't know whether you're supposed to be laughing or like horrified. Like, even the whole third act in my theater was was cracking up. But when you
Mhm.
have all these little kids chasing an old lady around and like crashing through windows and stuff, it's very funny to watch. Like, it's a very funny thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
I
also
think-
like horrifying, like what's happening. Like, people are dying and getting gruesomely torn apart and stuff, and yet it's funny.
Yeah. So I think he's very good at balancing that. It's interesting that a lot of what we talked about was largely just the interpersonal conflict outside of there being a witch. You know what I mean? And that's like the first 2/3 of this
Yeah.
movie is kind of balancing that really well. And then you get to this supernatural stuff. And I just like the slow reveals and, just, I don't know how it builds together.
So
there.
it cuts from, it starts with I'm gonna look up her name.
Miss Gandry?
Justine.
Justine.
Miss Gandy. Yeah, Justine Gandy. First perspective. Then it goes to Josh Brolin, Archer Graff. Then it
Mhm.
goes to Paul Morgan, Alden Ehrenreich. Then it goes to
James.
get James, yeah. And then finally it goes to Alex Lilly, who's the one kid in the class who didn't disappear, right? So you
Mhm.
start to see
James
it
is the
from his
homeless guy.
perspective. James,
James
is the homeless guy. Yeah.
I work there.
And-
Just call my supervisor.
Yeah. Again, I also thought this guy was like my favorite character in the movie.
Same.
And again, he was so fun. Okay, the funniest part of the movie, if we're talking about comedy, when he was in that house looking for stuff to steal, he's looking at the DVDs. What does he see? He says, "Oh shit, Willow!" He
Yeah.
sees a DVD of Willow. That part was
He
so
gets
funny.
so
He said, "Oh
excited,
shit,
dog."
Willow!"
Oh,
Yeah.
shit, Willow.
Yeah. But all his interactions when he's in that house, so funny. And like obviously he's looking for stuff to pawn to get money, and then he accidentally finds out where the kids are, and then he realizes like he can give this
He sees a
information
poster for the reward.
$50,000 reward, right? But then he calls and he sounds so insane on the phone that they don't even believe
Well,
that
he
he
gets
knows.
high before he calls. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. He's just dumb.
They're like, oh,
Look,
in the
I can-
basement.
I don't really like police stations. But can I like meet you somewhere and then I can take you
Yeah.
there? Like I just saw him. Like I can take him there right now. Yeah, he just smoked a bunch of crack. So,
And all,
but you
all
know he
narrative,
solved
like-
it all.
Yeah, he solved it. He's crucial to the story. But yeah, all narrative, like, for the previous day after he knocked him out, was like, look, man, I did you wrong. You did me wrong. Let's call it even.
Yeah.
Just don't ever let me see you again. And since
won't
he's
see you
going
around
there
here
to
again.
solve the case, Ehrenreich chases him off. Comedy of errors. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's like
which leads
one of my favorite
to-
segments.
Yeah, and then he's like in the woods and he sees Gladys, who kind of keeps showing up places as jump scares, and then he kind of hides in his tent because he thinks like she's chasing or something. And then someone approaches his tent and he just has like a bunch of needles and he stabs him in the face, and then it turns out to be Alden Ehrenreich again. And it's like, man, bad
Damn.
timing for that guy. Yeah,
It's like he's having a
Getting
bad
stabbed
trip.
with
He doesn't know if Gladys is real or what. You know, he's just like, oh
Right.
no. But then he explains, yeah, I know where the kids are. Let me take you. And then there's some interactions. They're like, do you have AIDS or something? He's like, hepatitis? Not that I know of.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
anyway, but so he's gonna take him to that house now. Like I'm telling you.
Basically, yeah, Alex Lilly, his house is central to his perspective, because
Well, then
see
we get
that,
his is like the final key perspective, I guess we could
Yeah.
talk about.
and it cuts back to before
Almost.
everything, right? We see his relationship with his parents. Oh, his parents are great and everything. He and then one day they're like, okay, your mom's Aunt Gladys is coming to visit. She's very sick, and we kind of need to take care of her or whatever. We don't know her very well. She was your mom's sister or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then Aunt Gladys shows up, and then of course she sort of puts the parents under some kind of spell, and that's what starts it all. And I guess spoilers obviously for the third act and everything, but the whole mystery behind it is that she's like sick or dying or something. I think she's sort of like, she's like hundreds of years old or something, is my theory. Like she's a witch, and she uses other people's youth to like keep her young and keep her from dying, right? So she sucks out people's youth or whatever. And so she was trying to do that with the parents originally. It wasn't enough, so she had to kidnap all the kids from class.
Now, Jacob, this might be maybe a little bit of a narrative, because I read it the same interpretation as you, that this whatever cancer is sort of a ruse. It's not necessarily that she's localized to this immediate death, that she is centuries old. I sort of had that sort of feeling as well. And she's playing this con and agreed that she drains this youth. Now, what she discovers is she's like, adults, not great. Kids, that'd be pretty good. But if she's done this for a long time, I guess, why wouldn't she have that figured out? Maybe that kind of dispels that, and maybe that makes her more of an immediate.
I feel like she's sucking the life essence out of, like, she thought that the parents would be enough to like keep, like, because I think her sickness is getting worse or something the longer that she goes without it.
But she also makes a mistake, sort of thinking to herself, well, if I did 17 kids at once, like, really gonna fix me. Like, that'll like charge my car battery if I hooked up like 1 million car chargers to it. And when the truth is like, no, you just kind of need to like charge your car with a car charger. Like, one thing that like done one kid, she would have gotten away with this whole thing and maybe fixed herself, it seems like, right?
Well, she's completely bald when we meet her. And then she's had a month of her car being charged, and she is just barely having a full head of hair. So it's really taken a long time. But she was saying, we're going to leave tomorrow. So she was maybe feeling strength enough that like, okay, we're gonna dip.
Be done.
And I guess for the parents, maybe that's the ruse that she always does. She finds a family with a kid, starts with the parents, so then she can threaten the kid. I will hurt your parents more. Go to school and bring me a bunch of children. Like that's
Yeah.
that's
Bring me a
the
bunch of
game.
soup.
Mike,
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
assumption when she leaves with Alex that she will immediately drain him as well? Like, is he maybe even the final one, right?
One for the road.
Well, I think she's keeping him
Yeah.
around because she needs him to like feed all the other people soup. And
Well, when
stuff,
she
so she's
leaves,
kind
is
of
she going to
keeping
bring
him
him with her?
conscious.
Feeding the kids soup, or is he just feeding the parents soup?
He's feeding all the kids soup too, because remember he's
also
coming home with a
feeding
bunch of cans, and he goes down in the
That's
basement. He's
so
like
much
feeding all the kids
soup.
soup and stuff.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
much.
Such a weird PR for
Um,
Campbell's.
I think her
Yeah.
thing is
Are
like
they peeing?
she goes from town to town,
I don't
right,
know.
and like feeds on the kids there or something.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
Oh, can I
But-
say real quick?
Yeah.
Just literary influences, because
Hmm.
vibe wise, the whole time, because obviously, like we keep saying, people are basically like, if Magnolia was a horror. What I thought
Yeah.
the whole time was, doesn't it feel so much folk and fairy tale inspired, and especially Hansel and Gretel, which is a witch and his children, but Pied Piper. The story of the
Yes.
Pied Piper who literally
Yeah.
comes back, makes kids disappear by the end, and ends with, and they were never seen again. They disappeared. Mysterious force who can just kidnap children. Didn't it just seem so like, even though this is so literal, didn't it just all gothic and just so like extraordinary too? And just such a fitting way.
Yeah. When I first saw the trailer, I was thinking Pied Piper, and I liked because I didn't know it was going to be a witch movie, so then it was a witch movie, but it's
Yeah.
a different kind of witch movie. She's got a weird tree and is doing like stuff with a bowl of water.
A
Like
tree.
it
Yeah.
feels kind of unique.
You gotta
and-
ring a bell, Mike.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely
Feels
folklore
old-timey.
inspired. I also thought of the Witches, Roald Dahl's The Witches.
Yeah.
Right? Have you ever
Mm.
read that or seen the
Yeah.
movie
And
adaptations
Zombie
or
Beast.
anything? Because basically in that the witches are like old, like ugly looking hags and stuff, but then they can disguise themselves as like more normal looking
Ronald
women,
McDonald.
right?
And specifically torture kids.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
hate kids.
Right. But when she's got
Gladys,
I'm just saying that the scene when Gladys is pitching Alex on like, you're gonna have to go get the stuff for the kids from your school, or I'm gonna make your parents hurt each other with the fork. When she's saying like, I could make them eat each other if I wanted. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. Like, it implies that she's
It's,
probably done that before in the past. That's a very creepy scene. The forks.
Yeah.
Yes, that's very well done, and it's obviously it's a sort of a voodoo where she wraps her hair around this twig, cuts herself with the thorn and stuff,
Mhm.
and then when she breaks it, then she can send it after someone. All that does feel very sort of folklore inspired.
But
You say
yeah.
voodoo, to me it's like Haitian zombie, and it becomes such
Right.
a zombie film at the end when
Mm.
it's literally like people, when he has to break the salt, and that causes
Yeah.
the assault that these
Mhm.
two
Right.
zombies who chase him try to break down walls and stuff. Again, it's so visceral, it's so kinetic. Kind of watching it and going, I bet a Resident Evil directed this guy would.
yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
I'm here for it. It is very kinetic and
But
visceral, yeah.
yeah, and it's like a voodoo doll, right? You need the DNA of your victim or whatever, which is the hair, and then you cut yourself with so you have the blood, so you have to sacrifice your own blood or whatever. So it all makes sense, I think, to me.
And
Um,
it plays into the final act because while she's threatening him, he's able to kind of discern how to do the magic and spoiler, use it against her at the end.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah,
act
you
of
idiot.
threat ruined it for
Right.
herself.
So good at learning the spell. For the fact that she definitely also does this spell where she says like, it's a quiet day or something to him, and he never speaks, and later, like when the detectives are there interrogating him and speaking, like clearly that is magical.
yeah,
And the fact that he's being so observant in those moments, and that he wins by literally, no, you old bitch, here's your fucking ritual back at you, boomers.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got you.
well, I
Love
thought he
it.
was just so scared that she was going to hurt his parents that he was just doing whatever she wanted, so he was being quiet.
No,
and
but
stuff,
when he
too.
finally turns the tables, he learned
Yeah,
by
yeah,
Do you
observing.
think
No,
it was
for
a
sure.
magical quietness? I kind of thought. No?
I thought it was fear maybe, but Could have been.
I thought, yeah, because just she was threatening his parents, and he,
Oh.
with the fork stuff, that was a really scary moment.
I thought there was irony to the fact that Julia was like, "You've been so quietly." Like even at school, he is not talking because he is totally
Could
like
be.
spelled out
Yeah,
to
it could
not
be.
say
I think
anything about
so
their
afraid
arrangement.
Think about it, I
what
gotta get more
Gladys can
soup.
do. Yeah.
I think it's
If you
good.
were so real quick, you're the cat Myers, Kroger's, Ralph's, whatever your local grocery. The kid, the only kid who survived a tragedy for a month ago, comes in every day and buys 12 cans of soup by himself, not his parents, not his legal guardians. You're not immediately calling the cops like, well, this is it. Like this kid needs help or something. Like, what is
Well, that's the thing is
He's buying 17 cans a day.
when the police are investigating and stuff, they, there's like a million signs that, something's weird is happening with this kid, and they sort of, and like they cover it up, like they clean up the house when they come to check in and everything, they move the kids out and stuff, but it's like so many times when adults could have noticed something and they failed this kid like lots of times.
Yeah.
There is that in the background. I love that thread because as Mike said earlier, and we all agree, it's this narrative of like adults children down. But there also is this thing of her failures are because she is so blatant and she's not this stuff. Like that's a failure. Like the kid becoming so weird and being the one kid out of 17, that is weird. That is a failure. She's putting people on her radar.
Right.
The fact that it just fell out of my head. What was I about to I lost it.
I think,
Well, what I think is so interesting is like the Julia Garner
cameras.
character.
Sorry, real
is-
quick. Cameras.
yeah.
She doesn't predict that Archer will put together the fucking ring
Right.
cameras and pinpoint where they are.
She's an old witch. She
She's
doesn't know
so
about
brazen.
they didn't have ring
she's a
cameras
fucking
in Salem.
old witch. She's just doing
Yeah.
fucking magic spells. She's like, oh, there's a ring camera was my undoing. It's like,
Right.
bitch, sorry.
And basically she sends the Benedict Wong character to kill Julia Garner because she thinks that if she kills Julia Garner, like she didn't expect that it would be such a big deal to this town that like 17 kids went missing and that they're still looking. So she's like trying to tie up loose ends by killing the
But
Julia Garner
if
character.
the number one suspect died, that would make it weirder. She
Yeah.
is so sloppy. She's
Right.
not putting any of the moves together correctly.
And if
Right.
Benedict Wong has a ring camera, she would be on there going to their house, last person to see him before he became a murder
Right.
monster.
Asking
And
for
she shows
blood.
up at school and stuff. And I thought about something too with Mike, your thesis about these characters being weapons to each other. Another thing is Benedict Wong, because Julia Garner calls in to Benedict Wong and says like basically the one adult that's trying to look out for this kid, Alex, is Julia Garner, where she's like, is Alex okay? Is Alex okay? I just want to talk to Alex. That's not possible. I'm sorry. Like
We're connected, she says, but
yeah,
we kind of are connected because of this weird thing. Everybody's like,
right. They want her to stay away from him. She knows like something's wrong. She goes to their house. She sees the newspaper on the windows and stuff. She sees there's that jump scare of the parents sitting on the couch, motionless, right? And she's like, what the fuck? What's going on in there? She calls in a complaint to Benedict Wong to get CPS involved. She's like, something's going on in this house. And that phone call leads, Benedict Wong, because he's, required by law to, there's a complaint to put it in or whatever. He has to contact Alex's guardian, which is Gladys, because she comes in and says, oh, the parents are sick or whatever at home. And that leads directly to his death and his husband's death. So all from that Julia Garner call and complaint. So you can say that's another way she was weaponized against Benedict Wong.
Right. And just because she cares, it's like, it's
and like Gladys is like trying to talk her way out of it. She's like, unfortunately, a complaint was made, so I'm gonna have to follow up on it, blah blah. And that's when Gladys realizes like she's gonna have to do something about Benedict Wong, or he's gonna figure out what's going on.
right.
Yeah.
My question is though, does she ever do anything with Julia Garner's hair? We have that one creepy scene where she passes out in her car from putting vodka in the big gulp.
Yeah,
she's
she
staking
cuts
out
the hair.
Alex's house. She never does anything with that. Couldn't she have just had her jump off a bridge or something?
Well, she does, because that's the thing. That's how she sends Benedict Wong after her, because she hypnotizes Benedict Wong, and then she wraps
That's
Julia
right.
Garner's hair around the twig and then breaks it, and that's what sends him
That's
after
the target.
Julia Garner.
That's right. That's right.
Because you need the victim's hair to send them
to
after.
send.
I guess.
No, that's
Yeah.
correct. That's correct. I did think it's smart that they show the ritual 3 times. Once at Benedict Wong's house, once at Alex's house, and then once when Alex does it. So we have we get an idea of it, a better understanding of it, and then a payoff with it. Like good rule of threes.
Absolutely, because when she shows up to Benedict Wong's, his husband, she cuts his husband's hair. She's like, she just cut my hair. Like they're trying to figure out what's going on. She's like pulling out this twig. People are like, what's happening? So it's all happening in the moment. They're very confused. And then obviously he kills his husband because she, forces him to, and then she takes out a little blonde curly hair out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. And it's just so there are some plot holes. I think Zach Kreger even said, yeah, there's plot holes, but like just fucking go with it. It's a cool movie. But I like that Josh Brolin, because after he saves her from Wong, or Wong gets hit by a car, he's like, all right, maybe I was being hard on her. Look, I have a plan. I'm a contractor, and through my power of contracting maps, I've figured out where the house is, right?
Triangulated. Yeah.
And he has his little landscaping flags. I like that he was using shit that he would have as a contractor. Yep. Like, that was actually kind of clever.
He points out it's Alex's house.
Yep. And we're going to go check
again,
it out.
I could definitely see Pedro Pascal in this role. And I think it would be very similar to his Last of Us character, where I could see him as like this construction guy and like drawing on the map and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of construction in Jackson. I've seen him with a hammer.
Josh Brolin just really doesn't give you much. He basically just gives you his thing.
Yeah. Old gruff guy.
Yeah.
Cable.
Yeah.
Can we mention the Justin Long cameo, because we get another weaponization, so to speak, when he confronts the wife of one of the victims, and he's like, hey, I want to look at the camera. She says, I'm not comfortable with that. And then he just waits until the husband gets home, Justin Long, says, hey man, can I look at the Ring camera? And he lets him in, and when you see his wife standing on the staircase pissed off, will you
guys do me a favor real quick? Will you Google who the wife is? That is Zach Kreger's real wife.
Yeah, Sarah Paxton is her name.
Thank you.
Zach Kreger's
that is
wife.
Sarah Paxton. Yeah. Classic actress who I feel like kind of was a big deal in our teens. She's in my favorite Ty West movie, The Innkeeper. And now just does nothing.
Yeah.
Just chilling.
Yeah, but yeah, she's married to Zach Kreger. And Justin Long, of course, also appeared in Barbarian in a very funny cameo kind of role. So,
but
of course, Scream King himself, he's got to pop up.
Part of that film. Like, he's like the most important part of that film's DNA, I would argue.
Yeah, by the time he gets involved. Yeah. Again, another movie that's kind of shown in perspectives.
Yes, the tone.
And here he just shows up for one scene. And it's like, oh, it's Justin Long. And I was thinking of our friend Cole, friend of the show, who Justin Long is his favorite actor. He loves Justin Long so much whenever he shows up in movies. I was like, you know what? Cole's going to love this in Weapons when Justin Long shows up in that one scene.
Someone said, we've done it. 2025, we've done it. Justin Long's in a horror movie, and he lives. He lives through the whole thing.
I call him a Scream King because he's been in so many horror movies that you've heard Scream Queen. I think he's a Scream King.
He's a Scream King.
Yeah. We love Justin Long, folks. And I want to shout out Jeepers Creepers. Good movie directed by a pedophile, but that's all right.
It's a big pedophile.
Yeah, we talked about Rosemary's Baby earlier, so I guess you got to cover him.
Yeah,
that's true.
We're rolling on pedophiles tonight.
I also want to shout out Gladys, the actress that plays Gladys, Amy Madigan. You guys have any?
Ed Harris's wife.
Ed Harris's wife.
She's in one of my favorite TV shows, Carnival. She plays one of the major female antagonist elite characters with my favorite Nancy Brown.
Yeah, Carnival. Yeah, she's been in a bunch of stuff. She's been nominated for an Oscar before. She was in Pollock with Ed Harris, of course.
Supposedly she's the sweetheart. She's like the sweet to his sour of what is whatever. So
cool.
I did see an image on the internet which is very funny, which put her as Gladys and Ed Harris in another movie that we liked, or Mike and I liked, Love Lies Bleeding, where he plays this crazy character with this crazy long hair and stuff.
That's the couple's costume.
What a great couple here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
That was a great movie. Yeah. A lot of fun.
So, but she's great as Gladys, the villain of the movie, who's just this very flamboyant character that kind of pops up. And and is the Longlegs of this movie, right? When Longlegs shows up in Longlegs, you're like, hey, it's Longlegs.
Let's talk about her a little bit more, and then I guess let's just lead into her ultimate fate and talk about that sort of
the
final image of the film. But
Yeah.
as you said, her cancer look, like this is a very heavily prosthetic role. It almost looks like she's like transformed in like a Christian Bale way of like lost so much weight or something, right? Like
Yeah.
she
Mhm.
truly
She's definitely
looks,
made to look older. I mean, she's 74, Amy Madigan, but I don't
when
think she
she's got
looks
the
like that.
little spindles of hair, just like the little bit
Yeah.
coming off
Yeah.
her head. Again, it's so crazy, and the sweetness between like you know what would really help me survive because your parents didn't is if you went to school and took an item from all of your friends' belongings. And she's like we joked earlier, the craziest things. Like she just gets away with the smile of being like, I don't even know why I'm asking. So
Yeah.
bonkers.
I missed the bus and then I
Yeah.
walked over here and I'm so thirsty. Yeah, it's like, whoa.
She has this persona as like this old eccentric woman who's
Mhm.
like harmless, but then she's doing like some of the most evil shit and like, killing people and stuff. And then you're like, oh wait, I wish you were not evil. Like,
Now, again, there is a voting contingent in the United States, and it's not just boomers. It is
Mhm.
a little bit above it, it is the below it, of people who now have this accepted attitude of, I'm almost done with the earth. I don't care about the people who will inherit it. I need to
right.
keep my amount of control
Selfishness.
as strong as possible.
Mm.
I need to be selfish. I need to vote in the instances of this is a Second Amendment country. We can never get rid of guns. The fact that it's not a problem that affects me isn't part of this argument. You shouldn't even bring that up. My voice is just as important as the 13-year-old, 14-year-old, 8-year, 6-year-old, 2-year-old, 20-year-old colleges murdered. We said statistically, it sounds like a quarter of the year is devoted to fucking school shootings now. That statistic is still rattling in my brain.
Over 300 last year.
That's insane. That is almost one a day.
Yes, it is
Yeah.
inconceivable. And yeah, no solutions, but she represents an ancient power
Yes.
that has just existed that makes shit worse.
That will
Yeah.
never stop. The parasite in America. The
Yes.
darkness in our heart.
She is, yeah, and she is the parasite in this movie. You could call this movie Parasite. That would be a good
Oh,
name
shoot.
for it too.
Nice.
They
Because she
need to
comes
make
into this
movies with these titles. These titles are too good. These ones that we're leaving
yeah,
on the
it could
table
be called
here.
Sinners. It could be called
Dominoes.
Parasite.
Yeah, Domino with Keira Knightley.
And
That would
yeah,
be produced
again, it
by the
reminds me
studio.
a witch and a vampire can be very similar in that Midnight
Comparison.
Mass, another Mike Flanagan joint. You have this vampire who kind of moves into this small community and sort of parasitically leeches off of it, right? And so the witch is essentially the same thing, moving into the small community and then leeching the life out of these people. So I think that's interesting as well.
I think there's also broadly, like literally, like the youth is suffering because of old people's decisions. Like Colin was saying, maintaining power,
Right.
it's causing the students of today, even just in the curriculum they have access to, like, oh, we're not going to feed our kids school lunches for free, like this kind of shit. The students, the children are made to suffer, in society right now. And I think that sucks.
Mitch McConnell,
Yes.
a man who cannot talk without having a system reboot, right?
Mhm.
He is at the age where existence is almost impossible. Gets to have more of a say on whether or not climate change exists, a thing that is scientifically proven, than children or us. Or again, the way that you could truly map this out is Amy Madigan's boomers, everybody else is Gen X, just being like, we're trying, but it's not working out. And the kids are millennials,
And
all
down.
the young people that are like, please stop killing us. It's like, what are you doing to us? So gruesome.
I would love to be able to afford anything other than soup.
Yeah.
I want to mention one other thing on this.
Mike, even that's kind
That's
of
deep.
They can only eat soup, Mike.
We're
That's
so poor
wild.
Yeah. Yeah, 69 cents a
can I-
can. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to mention one other thing on this subject too while we're talking about it. I think there's a think piece you could write on this, which I'm sure people have and stuff. But
I'm
Mhm.
sure they will. Yeah.
the resurgence of in horror using the elderly, and especially particularly elderly women as objects of horror in movies, including
Mm.
both this movie and Barbarian, which uses elderly women
That's
in a
right.
horror context, which I think is interesting. I'm not saying I'm not criticizing the movie or anything, but it's become
Jacob,
sort of
Get Out.
an
Get Out
archetype.
is Catherine Keener is the ultimate villain of Get Out.
Right, Get Out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really becoming this trend, and I think it's been around for a long time because there is sort of a subgenre called like old lady horror or hag horror, where you
Is
have
Hereditary one of
and
those?
it's
Hag horror. Well,
Oh, absolutely.
the genre
Hereditary
of
is,
which
yeah.
itself is
Hereditary.
that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, a
absolutely.
lot of elevated horror is kind of, and it's yeah, it's a fear of aging, it's a fear of death, decay. As you get older, you get closer to death, of course. So
There is
nobody wants to get older. Yeah.
there's the anti-read of the fear of the childless woman, that supposedly
Ah.
was so cemented of
Yes.
like she's outside the traditional norms of a nuclear family, fear her.
Mhm.
I don't think that's what this film is going for. I truly think it is powerful versus the powerless.
Yeah.
Right. You have things like even Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. You have Norman Bates' mother, the image of her,
Mhm.
in that chair, like the skeleton and
I
everything.
need to rewatch
Like,
that movie
we-
this year.
We'll never
Yeah.
talk about it.
No.
We'll never talk about that.
Check it out. It's pretty good. But the idea that we're scared of the elderly because to become elderly means to become close to death, right?
Yeah.
I
To
think
embody
that's
that.
something. Yeah.
It reminds us of our inevitable fate, but also I'm
Our
scared of old people
mortality.
because they're passing horrible legislation that is going to affect me for the
Right.
next 35 years of my life.
Right. That's true too. But yeah, and you have this this woman Gladys who is obviously afraid of death and is doing whatever she can to hold on to life, including sucking the youth out of other
Yeah.
people, right? So I
Exploiting
think that's
the
a big
youth.
theme within this movie.
Let's
Yeah.
leave the metaphysical and go to the physical. Let's talk about her death.
Yes, because as much as we're talking about theme, it is also literally
Yes.
just a movie about a witch who deserves a comeuppance, and boy does she get
Yes.
it.
And boy, when this film ends. Now, Jacob, what was your audience doing? In hollering? Like, were they engaged for this payoff? at all?
I don't know about you guys. My audience was pretty into it and laughing throughout at different moments,
Yes.
gasping and at certain jump scares and things, like just a lot of audible reactions and stuff. And through this whole scene, once the kids are weaponized against Gladys, there was a lot of laughing because it is just a funny
Mhm.
image of this horde of children crashing through windows and this old lady like screaming and running away in a very comical way, and
Yes.
running through people's houses and stuff. Like, it's very
Yeah.
funny. Like, it really is.
It's a bit, but they build up to it
Yeah.
because, by the time Julie Garner and Josh Brolin go to the house, and the cop and the junkie are been turned into goons essentially. So they have their fight, and that confrontation is very stressful. You get a little potato peeler action. Like that stuff is very real. The
Yeah.
stakes. The junkie
Hated
stuff
that.
is kind of funny when he
Hated
keeps getting
that.
up. But the peeler, that's the
I-
cheeseburger of this year.
Yeah, when I say this movie didn't quite stick the landing at times for me, it's because I thought some of the third act was anticlimactic, like with some of these characters, Alden Ehrenreich, the junkie, even Josh Brolin, all sort of becoming hypnotized and then basically getting killed because they got shot. Like Julia Garner shoots Alden Ehrenreich character just to get him to stop like choking her because he's
Right in the brains.
he's being mind controlled.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, that's, you could have like tried to not kill him and hope that, you could, save him from the witch's curse and not blow his brains out.
Do you think you could escape one guy choking you, let alone two guys choking you?
No, probably not. Not if I was.
No.
And the second guy,
Yeah,
I'd be
Julia
like,
Garner.
well, you got me. I can't keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I just think, for a movie that's all about these different perspectives of these characters, not all of them kind of pay off in a way that I like. Like Alden Ehrenreich and Austin Abrams and Josh Brolin, I feel like their stories, they don't really pay off because they just end up dying. And even Benedict Wong dies and stuff. So really, Well, I guess Josh Brolin doesn't die, but he just saves his son and then just walks off. And I thought the ending was so abrupt too, and the way they say like, basically, I guess you can't save them from the curse because they're still like they say like some of the kids have started talking, but not all of them, and like Alex's parents are like still like messed up
Yeah,
or whatever.
that's line,
crazy.
that whole part in general where he says,
Yeah.
where the little girl voice ever said, Alex, Alex doesn't feed soup to his parents anymore. Somebody else
He had
in
to go
like
live with
state
a different
facility
aunt,
does.
a nice aunt.
Yeah, then he went to live with a nice aunt who's not aware. The end.
Son.
See ya. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
like you were
And
like,
I was hoping that his parents would be like totally saved and like he could
No.
like reunite with his parents, and there's like no sort of conclusion to that other than they're still kind of messed up, and that's like, damn.
The reveal that
really
he's
sucks.
hugging them though, and that through Gladys's death they have been freed, and that Alex has sort of enacted this, and he gets the payoff of being with them. Also, it's not like he seems touched. Or think about this. I mean, Josh Brolin was possessed and then gets it turned off. It's not like for the rest of his life he's mute. It seems like if it's like over an hour, brain's just completely scrambled.
Right. And then
they
they
were
say like,
cooked for a
some of the
month.
kids have just started talking again, but not all of them. Some of them are still.
But do they
talking.
do they walk around? Like, are they normal except for being mute? Like, what does that mean?
I don't know.
Alex is like,
and we just see Josh Brolin. He picks up his son and just kind of walks off, and that's kind of how the movie ends.
When the reveal that his son has the long hair, I was like, well, he's got like a cool son.
There's the detail. Did you notice when Alex is getting bullied? It's Josh Brolin's son named Matthew. That's the bully.
Really? Oh, I did not put that
kid
together. That's really cool.
Because they say because he talks about his son Matthew and stuff earlier. So when he said when the bully is named as Matthew, I'm like, oh, that's Josh Brolin's son.
That's
Huh. No, and that's implicative of, I don't even know if that's a word, but it indicates something about Josh Brolin's relationship, how he is as a father, that his son has become a bully too. It's some subtle
piece of shit.
He's
and you see
old-fashioned
he only sees
man
the good
guy.
of his son. Yeah,
right.
And he's like, oh my son was so great or whatever and stuff, and it's like, oh, your son was like being a bully and stuff. It's cool.
The successful payoff reward of this film is, no, your son's not dead. He just has a developmental disability for the rest of his life. And you're like, oh,
seems like it. Yeah, he might be like
it's
like a walking vegetable or something.
Yeah, he's like messed up. It's like, oh,
I felt like I did want like the happy ending. All the kids are normal and everybody's happy, but it's commentating on trauma. Like you go through something. It's
not
crazy,
realistic.
You're not going to get better. Yeah,
it's never going to be normal again. You bullshit. Like you're a vegetable.
Yeah,
like, no matter what happens. Yeah. It's like,
and the conclusion of Julia Garner is that like I thought this was interesting too, because like it ends with Josh Brolin walking off with his son, and Julia Garner's still in the house, and we never cut back to her or get any kind of conclusion to her arc. She kills Paul, the cop,
ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, and then we just cut away from her in the house, and we never see her again. So I thought that was kind of interesting too.
Yeah, it's like she's sort of the main character, but there's almost no main character. Like once we get to the Act 3, it's very much we need to tear Gladys apart, literally. That's the joke, and once we're done with that joke, we're out of here. Like this whole movie was a setup for one joke.
God,
well done.
So that's weapons.
Yeah,
that's weapons.
Basically.
Should we move to final thoughts?
What a wild movie. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Niche to normies like us. We don't usually do such specialized things. We kind of pitched this out. Jacob, you'd said in a previous episode, like, if we like it, we'll probably do an episode on it. Same thing like we talked about with Sinners as well.
Yeah.
I think Zach Krager is someone to watch, and I'm excited for his films going. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when it's like these sort of auteuristic, elevated horror movies that are becoming a thing now, and they are culturally relevant because everyone, when Sinners came out, everyone was talking about Sinners, so we had to talk about it. I felt like, and everyone's kind of talking about weapons right now. Even Jordan Peele, when Nope came out, we did a Nope episode, and we loved Nope. Yeah. Unfortunately, Nope didn't do as well at the box office as I would have wanted it to. In terms of like compared to like Sinners and stuff, like I feel like Nope is so underappreciated to this day. Where it's like
that was my number one for that year.
Like, and I see people online saying like, "Oh, Nope's like Jordan Peele's worst movie." I'm like, "What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
That's crazy." Yeah,
Get out of here.
This so even not being something specialized, and like you're saying, yes, I plays into like we can talk about bigger genres. I just love the idea that also we talked about like politics more than we ever have on this podcast, and we all gave our impassioned plea to teachers.
Yeah, pay the
I
teachers.
think teachers are great. Again, my mom was a teacher, and my mom was a special education teacher, so she especially knew about like how bad things can be in the public school system and stuff. And so it's just always a cause that I really try to stand for and stuff, because I think it all starts with education. If you want a dumb populace, that's how you get like to where we are now, where it's like if we had
Idiocracy.
better, idiocracy. Like education from a young age is so important for like a civilized society, I think.
Yep.
So
Again,
not to
the
get on
systems
my
and the adults should stop
soapbox,
failing
but-
the children. Let's actually stand up for them for once.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, like
That'd be
parents and the
awesome.
teachers should work together to raise
Wow.
the child as a good child. But too many parents have like this possession over their kids of like, no one knows better for my child than me, and it's like you have to trust some other
Dunning-Kruger parenting.
adults at times. Yeah, to trust teachers. I know there's been some bad apples that kind of can
Do you
whatever. Anyways,
Yeah.
do you guys have an opinion on homeschooling? I really think it's not.
I'm against it.
great, though.
No,
Yeah.
I'm against homeschooling because again, you have these like super religious people that raise their kids outside of the society basically, and it's like what kind of education are they getting?
Yeah.
And so do you think that a random parent is more qualified to teach their child than a professional teacher? Like that's crazy to me. Like most people are not qualified to teach their children every subject. So I don't think homeschooling is effective.
When my
And I don't
mom
think-
to this day asks me to do a math problem for her because she's like, I'm just not good at that. Like in my mind, like who had been like my school teacher, you know what I mean? Like it's just like
Right.
it's just not possible, it seems like to me. Nobody
No.
is good at every subject. Teachers are specialized in subject.
Well,
yeah. And I believe in
do-
the sense of community and not being isolated from your community.
Yes.
And,
And meeting
you know-
friends and being normal. Yeah.
Yes, go
I
ahead.
think, the social aspect I think is important, and you were talking about that too with the schooling system. And this is kind of reminds me of the witch thing. Don't worry, I'll land this plane. It takes a village, right? And like that's like
Yes.
back to the old witch days. The children were, she's attacking a village. It's just a modern version
Right.
of a village. It's so fractured that it's easier for her to get away with it because there's so much divide between the village of Westbrook or wherever we are in this movie.
Yes. I think I agree with you, Mike, 100%, because I think it does take a village. And it used to be like that was the old way, is like you would trust teachers to teach your children right and raise them when you're not around, And
Yeah.
then so you have the kids during the day when they're at school, and then they come home, and then the parents have them at night. And now it just seems like there's this breakdown of society where it's like these parents are so inherently distrustful of other adults being around their kids, any adults. And it's like, that's no way to live in a society like where, it does take a village again. And everyone feels super isolated. And there's this isolation in the world that
the
I just think is bad.
post-COVID
Yeah.
themes of stuff is wild, and like
Yeah.
Eddington, which I
The
haven't seen.
breakdown
but
of society.
It's
That's why I think this
crazy.
is probably I haven't seen Eddington yet, but I've heard like this movie with Eddington, great double feature about like the world we live in right now, post COVID, second Trump era. Everything's going really great right now in America. We're making it great again, folks.
I'm
no, but I
I'm so
think,
sick of winning. Actually, I'm so sick of it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Release the
Um,
fucking Epstein files, you
Yeah,
sexist shit.
release them.
Stop disappearing kids.
Yeah, stop disappearing
Yeah.
citizens. Yeah, period.
Stop turning them into homing missiles to attack other people.
AKA
Stop wrapping their
recruiting them
hair in
as ICE
twigs.
agents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weapons. Paying people $100,000. That's weapons. But
You know what's crazy? I saw the other day, I was at the White House. Trump was there. He looked so sick, so old. His wig was falling out. And he grabbed some of mine and he wrapped it around a stick and he said Palestine. And then he snapped the stick. It was
No.
horrible.
no.
It was
Became a
so
cruise
scary.
missile.
Yeah, dude.
Oh.
He fired so many missile kids after that.
Oh, jeez. What would
Now
world
he's
we
he's
live in?
abducting all the children from DC because he says there's
Yeah.
a security threat there. He's got to abduct them
Yeah.
and put
Yeah.
them in
I
his
know who
basement
the
and feed them
security
soup.
threat is. Yeah.
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 Fucking
Oh, jeez. What a world.
pedophile
Well,
in chief.
Anyways,
Zach Krager, the first post-COVID witch movie, he done made it. We done talked about it. Let's go to
Wild.
final thoughts.
We're back here on Normies Like Us, where we were talking weapons and how we turn ourselves into weapons to be used against each other. Because we're talking 2025 Zach Krager, as Mike said, post-COVID witch movie.
Yeah. So
yes.
I like this movie because it's like an ogre or an onion. It has layers. Like it's not about one
right.
thing. It is overtly maybe school shooting metaphor, but we've talked about so many other topics, and I like that it's doing that. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I think it's sorry.
No, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say like I can see why Jordan Peele again was interested in this movie and stuff because it reminds me a lot of what Jordan Peele has been doing with his movies, where there's a lot of symbolism in layers, and it's not all 100% spelled out. You know, it's like you kind of make your own interpretations as the audience. There's a literal thing that's happening of the plot, but then there's also the meaning of the symbolism and themes and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I also would like to point out it's cool that sort of like Jordan Peele, he's took the alien invasion genre and kind of reimagined it. And then we have Ryan Coogler taking the vampire genre and reimagining that. And now we have this movie that's Zach Krager reimagining the witch genre. Like it's kind of cool that this is happening in horror. Yeah. And we're going to get a werewolf movie from Robert Eggers. Maybe that'll be a new thing.
Yeah, well, Robert Eggers only makes old movies, right? Period pieces.
Yeah.
Old timey weird film.
True.
But no, I like Robert Eggers a lot too, and I think again, we have so much going on in horror right now. Like it's the genre where it's like original ideas are happening. We have these big names, Zach Krager, Jordan Peele, Ryan Coogler, Robert Eggers, Ari Aster. You could throw in there. You could throw in
I've heard good things about Bring Her
whoever
Back.
else.
Together,
Bring
I've
Her
heard
Back.
good things about.
Right.
Yeah, those brothers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So again, when it's like, we have the superhero genre maybe dying out, maybe it's back. We don't know. Maybe Superman brought it back. Maybe Fantastic Four killed it again. I don't know. But it just seems like if you want to get a movie made now, it's got to have like if you want an original mid-budget movie, it's got to have like a horror element to it to get funding because then you can know that you can market it that way. Yeah.
Did you see that headline that this is the first year ever where Marvel movies back their budget because all three of the films failed financially?
None of them are
Really?
making their budget back?
Yeah.
I thought Captain America was like the most financially successful out of them, though.
I still don't think it cut it enough.
I think Fantastic will eventually because I think the thing is it had a big drop off from week 1 to week 2.
Huge.
But depending with international markets, I don't know how it's doing, but I think it'll at least break even.
I've said on Letterboxd, it's a film now that has fallen out of my brain, and I'm more of a disdain for it than when we did that episode on Fantastic Four. Meanwhile, Weapons is maybe stop thinking about and easily by the I'd imagine.
Say that again?
I missed the last bit.
Oh, I'm just so pro this film and that it'll probably be in my top 10 this year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I love Weapons. I've been thinking about it since I saw it,
Yeah, when I think about looking forward to my top 10 of next year, and obviously it's like all the Oscar bait type movies and stuff come out in the fall and stuff, so that's when I'll get around. I usually get around to in January, catching up on all the awards type movies and stuff, which a lot of them will make my list and stuff. But when I think about movies that I've seen already that I know will probably be somewhere within my top 10, I'm thinking about this movie. I'm thinking about Sinners. I'm thinking about 28 Years Later. And I think that's it right now. Maybe Superman, but I think Superman might be in that like 11 to 20 range in terms of my favorite movies. Yeah, when it's all said and done.
Yeah, my top 3 is some arrangement of Sinners, 28 Years, and Weapons right now, and that's blowing my mind.
Yeah. Again, horror is where it's happening because again, to get a movie made like this, you need some kind of horror element because it can't just be like a mid-budget drama anymore. Because I think those don't get made. It's either a very small independent movie, or it's a big movie, or like an Oppenheimer or something like that. But otherwise, it's the death of the mid budget movie, except for the horror genre, which is kind of where things are happening. I
Even
guess that's my
Companion was this year too, right?
Companion, which was produced by Zach Kreger.
Wow.
Oh, really?
And originally, yeah, he was originally going to direct it, and then he said, "You know what? I'm too busy doing other stuff, but I'll produce it." And then I think the director is like a friend of his, so
Oh, I really
he's
like
kind of
that.
going into the Jordan
Yeah.
Peele role now, where he's getting other movies produced and stuff now too.
Huh.
So, hey, more sketch comedy people should go into the horror directing business.
Fucking Mike Mitchell.
Yeah, let's get the freaking Doughboys in here, directing movies. I don't know.
Well, yeah. Thing about horror too is you keep the budgets low. You don't need to make $500 million opening weekend, or This made like
Mike,
80 million, and they're like, "This is awesome."
The biggest final lesson I'm gonna leave here. This is my big final thought. RDJ, his quote for Doomsday is $80 million to come back to the MCU, and you could make 8 or 10 incredible horror films for the money you're paying that asshole. That will not pay off as an investment.
Yeah, no,
Well, that's
I'm pulling up the
why
budget for this.
things like Sinners and this are good, because it's like, yeah, those movies are paying off their investment. So if you invest in a Sinners and you do make your money back, then that's it's good for the rest of the industry, because now other studios are like, oh, you know what, that hot horror script, let's take a chance on that, and then they will get made.
Yeah, I mean, even something like Jurassic World, which is Rebirth, which is the best movie financially this year, they made that at a way lower budget than the previous 3 because those were struggling to return. So even something like a Jurassic
I always
Park
expect those
scaled
movies
down.
Jurassic Park to me is like Fast and Furious, where it's like, yeah, it's insane that these movies make money, but they're like a surefire hit. So like they're going to keep making them, even if they're terrible,
But they still went to like half the budget for this one to the previous. Even they were,
because they realized
smart
like you don't need like
200+ million.
I don't know why Hollywood doesn't realize like you don't need to make a movie for 300 million when you can make it for like 150 million and make way more profit, and it's still good. Like you don't need to throw 300 million in an MCU movie. But I think even the MCU is realizing that. Yeah. Well, what's interesting about the MCU stuff, not to get off topic too much, but like what I thought is so interesting is that Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four are clearly two of the more interesting in terms of like MCU really cared about those movies like turning out well, and like people actually like them getting critical success, and they put a lot of effort into it. Like even if you don't like Fantastic Four, like they put a lot of effort into making it different from other MCU movies, like the style and the setting and everything. So clearly they put a lot of effort in, and they wanted to make those movies really commercial or critically successful, and they hoped that would turn into commercial success. And what they learned is that it doesn't, because Thunderbolts, a movie that we really liked for an MCU movie, was one of the worst selling MCU movies of recent years. So if anything, they're learning the opposite lesson of like, oh, let's keep making slop because those do better than the ones that we actually put effort into. So that's kind of a shame.
Yeah, it's a bummer. So horrors, I mentioned at the very top, most of my favorite movies the last couple of years have all been horror, because this genre is innovating at least, and like
truly,
something unique. I like that a lot,
Trying.
So.
And yeah, there's different, different things happening in horror. Even something like Terrifier, where it's like this ultra gory,
the
violent
exploitation thing is
slasher, and it's like Terrifier 1 was an ultra low budget, like $10,000 movie or something crazy like that. Then Terrifier 2, they gave a slightly larger budget, and it was a huge like cult hit. And now they have Terrifier 3, which is an even larger budget.
They're truly they're like it's at $2 million. like it's so little. It's so crazy.
Right. But the lower your budget, the easier it is to make a profit, of course. And I think about like what a shame is, one of my favorite directors of all time, John Carpenter, maybe he was in the wrong era, because if he was working in today's era,
Wow.
throughout his career, he made a lot of horror movies and different movies that never quite made the money that they should have. Like even The
Here's the
Thing,
thing.
and yeah, like Halloween was his one where it's like, yeah, Halloween obviously was a huge hit and turned him into a name. And then he tried to make The Thing, and it's like that movie, a cult hit today. People love it. Huge box office failure and huge critical failure when it came out. People didn't understand it. It was like ahead of its time. And I
Yeah.
think if he was making the movies that he was making now, like they would actually be commercial hits. He like struggled for a lot of his career because his movies never made profits, and he was always trying to get funding for his next movie. And that's why his last movie was in 2010, because he just kind of gave up on making movies now, and he's just more happy to just be retired and sit at home and play video games and smoke weed, you know. So
Yeah.
I can't blame him for that, but at the
I
same
live
time
my
I'm just like,
dream
damn,
life, be a hero.
Mm-hmm.
I wish John Carpenter was like in his prime now, because I think he'd be turning out some more interesting movies and stuff.
No.
We wouldn't have the
No.
well, if he was making movies now, we wouldn't have the people influenced by him making the movies we have now that we like. Is the problem?
Yeah, but I just think it's ironic because it's like easier to get funding for a horror movie, an original horror movie like this now, than maybe it was in the 80s and 90s when he was trying to get his projects financed.
Doing a lot of
So, that's
self-funding.
all.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, Mike Flanagan, Jordan Peele, Zach Kreger, etc. Like so many names
Robert
now
Eggers.
in horror. I think that's our main thesis of this
We
episode,
love
is
him.
that we just love where the horror genre is at right now. And it's like the one good thing going in the movie industry of like original horror is back, and it's back in a big way.
Yep. And I guess for my final thoughts on weapons specifically, I feel like because I keep thinking about it so much, and even throughout this episode, we were finding new things that it's maybe interrogating about our society. I think that the more this ages, I think it's going to be received even better. And it's already at 94% from critics and 86 from audiences. It's an A- cinema score, which never happens for horror.
Wow.
The problem is it's Warner Brothers. And you can't say, hey, we should push our guy Zach Kreger for best director or best screenplay because we have to put all of our juice behind Sinners. So
Yeah.
this is probably not going to get nominated for stuff when it easily could have in another year because Warner Brothers is going to put the machine behind Sinners, which I think they should.
Screenplay,
And horror is still, in terms of award season and stuff, still not getting the recognition. And maybe maybe that'll change. But like from all my previous experience, I don't see this getting nominated for like Oscars, because they're sort of prejudiced against horror in general. So even getting any horror kind of movies in there is a big deal for them. But like I thought Nope should have been nominated for Oscars and stuff, and it wasn't. It's like, man, what are we doing here, you know?
Come on.
But I think Sinners does have a good chance, because Sinners just was captured the cultural zeitgeist so well when it came out. And it was like even more than Weapons, where it's like everyone was talking about Sinners. And I'm wondering now, do you guys think Weapons will have sort of a blowback where it's like people start saying like, oh, Sinners is like the most overhyped movie of the year, like people talked it up, like it was okay but it wasn't amazing? This is what I just heard from some people, you know. Do you think Weapons will have a sort of a backlash like that, where people
I
say,
think
oh, it's
the word of
overrated?
mouth and the weird campaign was so interesting for Barbarian, and that was such an uphill fight to get people on board, that
Yeah.
Weapons will skate by because now people will like, see, I told you.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
going to grow in appreciation over time.
Yeah.
But have you guys seen like the backlash against Sinners, where people are saying it's
Oh, yeah.
overrated and stuff? Yeah.
I've kind of fallen out of love with Sinners, but
Whoa.
that's for another conversation.
All right, for another time. I'm
I
still
don't
very
think it's
high on it.
as I think Weapons is a more interesting movie in its themes and stuff. Like it has more to really think about. Like Sinners is
Yeah.
more it is what it is. I think it's a really good example of what it is, but it's not as layered or as interesting as Weapons.
My thinking is Weapons is more, forgive me, scattershot in what it's approaching, and Sinners is very focused on what it's dealing with. So they're, yeah.
Yeah.
But
All right,
I can see
your
that.
host
Yeah.
has to go to bed here before he disappears at
That's right.
2:17. So let's wrap things up by Jacob telling us what's coming up next.
Wow. Yeah, let me take a look at the schedule here, because I forgot everything.
I
off
feel
the top
good,
of my head.
listeners, because Jacob has scheduled us out for basically the rest of the year, and we're locked into a really good schedule.
A really good schedule. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna
at
be a lot of
least
good stuff.
through the next couple months. I like to try to plan out a little bit ahead of time. Of course, we've got watchas and things on a sort of a 10 episode schedule. Generally, we have our end of the month Miyazaki episodes. Those will still be happening. So actually, next week we will be doing a Miyazaki, and that is, of course, Kiki's Delivery Service. Hey, a witch to a witch.
Boy,
Oh,
Jacob.
Going witch
I
to
really
witch.
don't like that. I don't like that you pointed that out. Don't you
Wow.
dare say Kiki's anything like this.
it's
From a
Hog
mean
Witch.
witch to a nice witch. Yeah.
Nice.
So Kiki's Delivery Service next week, and then we'll be doing our watcha. And then for episode 359 will be a watcha. Episode 360 will be a very super top secret special episode that
Ooh.
we will not reveal right now. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's
8
Hi,
years in the making.
I'm Kiki. I do special deliveries with my little cat Gigi. Just do me a favor. Give me a lock of your hair real quick.
Yeah.
Oh no. Kiki.
This movie
Yeah.
did need a black
So-
cat. That's all that was missing. And
That would have been
Right.
cool.
yeah,
yeah. Or
Oh, did you guys
broomstick or
like
something.
that? I've seen a lot of articles point out that the whole story is unraveled. Every shot that's framed with the car where it says witch on it, they're telling
Yeah.
you what the movie's about.
right.
That's
in
that's some
hindsight.
foreshadowing for sure. Yeah.
Like
It's
the writing
you
is
don't
incredible.
realize.
in This film.
Yeah.
And
That's what I heard.
some-
I heard the screenplay is great. Like the screenplay did like leak online before this movie came out, and people read it and they're like, "This screenplay is like amazing." Is what I
I
heard.
saw
so.
one
Oh,
person on
wow.
Reddit commented, "Do you think they're going to keep the yacht-sized AR-15?" Before they saw it, and then they sure
Right.
did.
That's the thing that people ask Zach Krager in interviews, like, "What does that mean? Like, why does he see a giant AR-15?" And he says, "I don't know. I just had like a dream that it was like a cool image, and I just put it in there, and
He's right.
you kind of make your own meaning." And again, that's what Coen brothers do when you ask the Coen brothers about certain symbolism in their films and stuff. Like directors don't have to give you all the answers. Like you're supposed to make your own answers. That's what's great about film.
Yeah, that's what
Um,
we did on this episode. Yeah.
That's
That's
right.
right.
So Kiki's Delivery Service next week. September we'll have some TV shows that we're watching we'll be talking about in September, and then of course October, spooky month, baby. We're going back to the spookies.
Mhm.
So
More
good
horror.
couple months coming up. More horror, yeah. And we'll do our spooktacular, our 31 days of spookiness. So I'll be excited to see you guys' lists and everything. And yeah, that's the future of
Absolutely.
Normies Like Us.
Mm-hmm. I got to go buy
that's
some
weapon.
vodka, so that's yeah. wrap
That's
it
it.
up.
We
Yeah, I
gotta
gotta
head to
get
the
to the
store
liquor
to
store.
pick up our 2 handles of vodka. So we have been your hosts.
Yep.
This is Colin running Naruto style.
The whitest mic you know.
And this is you are the whitest Mike I know. And this
You are.
is your aunt Jagladys.
Oh.
Give me your hair.
Oh,
And a bowl of
Just
water.
for a little project I'm doing. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Give me a bowl of water. Don't ask
ask
why.
questions.
Yeah, I forgot. I was going to have a bowl of water to be drinking out of this episode as a bit. I only had the soup. I totally forgot. Anyway, we'll catch you next time, listeners.
Bye.
All right, go see Weapons, Normies. Let us know what you think. Bye-bye.
Realize, weaponize. Bye.